All right. Well, all right. Whatever. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Beach Ball pregame report. I'm Joey Miller. Alongside me, Jesse Cook. Maybe this bobblehead can get that high five down a little bit more. It's bobblehead day. Our wonderful manager, Troy Percival, and our hitting coach, Troy Gloss, both former Angels, now with the Long Beach Coast, get their own bobblehead. They're high-fiving.
If we were trying the high five, do we have to bobble our heads too?
Yeah, I mean, you'd hear rocks if I shook my head. But it's going to be an exciting day. We always love to see some bobbleheads, and that always drives out everybody, all the collectors who want to come out and get the bobblehead signed. Actually, there are a few signed bobbleheads in the mix for people coming out to Blair Field, and I know if you're listening to this on the pregame report, well, sorry, it's kind of late. But, let's talk about what happened last night. This is the second game of a three-game set, the final three games against the Yuba Sutter Freebirds here at Blair Field, and the first one did not go very well. 11-4, the loss, and it's the second time that the Freebirds have won a game here at Blair Field in their 10 attempts. A lot of things went well, a lot of things went poorly, but let's start up with what went well. Jack Martin kicking things off.
Well, absolutely. We had two pitchers dealing for the Coast who had not seen action in a decent amount of time. Jack Martin out of the gate had not pitched in 2 weeks. He got rocked out in Ogden and rebounded rather nicely after an apparent injury during that game. So 4 strikeouts for him across his 5 1/3 innings pitched. Not bad. Brett Wozniak behind him out of the bullpen, normally a starter, but making his climb back into the rotation. Things could have gone better for him as well. He hadn't pitched in 53 days. It had been since June 19th against these Freebirds that he had pitched yesterday, August 11th. But he earned his first strikeout back, so that's another positive for this team.
Yeah, and it's good to see Wozniak get back. Like you said, 53 days, 51 technically on the injured list. He was activated just before this series, so it's really good to see the southpaw back, and hopefully he gets back into the starting rotation sometime soon. Jack Martin made quick work of the Freebirds early on, though. 10 pitches in the first inning and 13 apiece in the second and the third. But the run support just wasn't there, and that's because on the other side, Anthony Silvas was doing just about the same thing, keeping the Coast batters stagnant up until the 5th inning. That was the first inning where the Coast would score 2 runs. Both of them were unearned, but it's really hard to win a game or at least get some momentum for your starting pitcher when you can't provide that run support.
Well, Long Beach was held without a base runner for the first 3 innings. So there are some old bugs biting back for Long Beach. This was a big problem, that the Coast could not score in the first or second inning for a long time. It looked like the water had started to trickle through on that dam during the end of the last homestand before this extended 2-week road trip. Scoring in the first inning, they enjoyed a nice 7-run first inning against Ogden during that unbelievable doubleheader where they won a game by 17 and then lost the next game by 17. But Long Beach looked like it had shaken the monkey off its back, but apparently Curious George has climbed his way back into the picture.
And it really seems like this is a new Freebirds lineup. We always see new Freebirds lineups, it seems, every time they come back to Blair Field. Some new additions like Zeb Rose, who got his second home run for the Freebirds to start off a 5-run rally. That really pushed things the way of the Freebirds. But these Freebirds are a little different in the second half. You look at their second half standings. They're now 7-18, which doesn't look great. They're at the bottom of those second half standings. However, if you look at who's at the very top, the Modesto Roadsters, the first 25 games, they have only lost 1 game. Who did they lose that game to, you might ask? The Yuba Sutter Freebirds. Who was on the mound during that game? That would be Riley Egloff, the starter tonight for the Yuba Sutter Freebirds. So he's not somebody necessarily to play around with, especially with that 92, 95 mile per hour fastball and a 6-pitch arsenal. He has taken 3 of his 6 losses here, against the Coast, 2 here at Blair Field. This is his 6th time facing off against the Long Beach Coast. But Riley Egloff, what do you recall about him, and how do you figure the Coast need to approach a guy like Egloff?
Well, he does something that bit the Coast yesterday, which is he plays into the fact that he's not playing at elevation. What doesn't the ball do out of the pitcher's hand when you're playing in thin air, Joey?
It does not curve. Rather, it
No,
curves more here.
It does not. Yeah, it does not curve at elevation. It does down here. Coast batters yesterday were not ready to be back at home for pitches that move a lot more and a lot later. Riley Egloff has a fantastic breaking pitch that he works down and outside of the zone, but it looks like it's headed right for the belt when it starts. And Long Beach batters struggled against Anthony Silvis on similar pitches yesterday, so we'll see what Egloff can do in that same vein.
And he averages about 4 to 5 strikeouts in 4 to 5 innings pitched for every one of his 5 appearances prior against the Long Beach Coast. I recall last year when he was with the Jackalopes, the very first series was on the road in Yuba Sutter, the team that he now plays for, and he said his curveball was working so well for him, and then the very first game that he got back to Simplicio Field in Grand Junction, a team now no longer, the curveball just wasn't working for him. So now that he's had a full season, almost full season with these Freebirds, he's starting to really get into a rhythm, but that's where the Coast come in. The Coast need to get him out of that rhythm to potentially bounce their way back and tie up this series. We were talking about the standings. Let's take a look really quick at what's going on in the standings. We talked about Modesto. They are 24-1 on the very other side of the standings. The Mobiles, man.
Whew.
It's a 20-game losing streak, I believe, last time I checked. And it's tough, you know, with something like Dimitri Young, who came into this season expecting to have a better season than he had last year, where he had an unexpected travel ball team midway through the season where the Northern Colorado Owls turned into the Colorado Springs Sky Sox. But then the Missoula Paddleheads are right behind the Roadsters. So that could be the other mountain team that would enter the standings for the potential.
A team that the Coast will see next week.
Indeed, yeah.
So
we'll see
that's
how
a
they
major
play here.
roadblock for Long Beach because they finish out against Modesto. And while the Coast, yeah, they have home field advantage locked up during the first round of the playoffs, it's not like it's secured for a potential championship round. So Missoula could really jump ahead and hurt the Coast. But if Modesto stays on this track, by the time that last week of the season rolls around, if Long Beach struggles at home, they may be playing for home field advantage in that potential second round of the playoffs. And also, it is worth noting that with the Pioneer League, we're not entirely sure on what will happen as far as placement of teams, because they could shuffle things around. If, say, Long Beach were set to play a mountain team and Modesto were set to play a mountain team, the league in the past has orchestrated a scenario in such a way where the two teams that are closer just end up playing each other. So while technically home field advantage should be secured for the Coast, there's a world where it isn't.
And looking behind the Paddleheads right now, the Boise Hawks and the Idaho Falls Chuckers, who struggled mightily in the first half, are making a solid case with a 15-10 record. They're both tied. With the Chuckers and the Hawks are tied. The Billings Mustangs, it doesn't really matter because they're already in the playoffs. They're 14-11 in the second half. The Oakland Ballers, 13-12, just a game above 500. We're going to see the Oakland Ballers at the end of this week in a 3-game set.
And they cannot make their way to 500 on the overall standings by the time that Long Beach sees them. So that'll be a team walking in with a chip on its shoulder and a chance to jump back up to level against Long Beach, depending on how the next couple days go for Oakland.
And then you got the Great Falls Voyagers at 10-15, tied with the Ogden Raptors, whom got 3 of those 10 over the Long Beach Coast just a couple of weeks ago. The Glacier Range Riders as well. They got 3 wins of their now 7 on the second half, tied with the Yuba Sutter Freebirds, and then finishing things out with the Red Pocket Mobiles, who are now 1-24, like we said, officially with that 20-game losing streak. And I can tell you who's happy to not be on the Red Pocket Mobiles right now. Happy to be on a winning team is Spence Kaufman, who made his debut for the Long Beach Coast last night. He started this season with the Windy City Thunderbolts in the Frontier League, and then he went to the Red Pocket Mobiles, where he spent most of this season. And he was recently traded now to the Long Beach Coast for a player to be named later in cash considerations. And he made quite the impression last night.
Oh, my goodness. We don't have room in our broadcast booth for me to reenact what he did, but these guys can. You see how they're standing up like this?
Yes, he dove and caught a ball that would have gotten past him and potentially scored a run early on in the game. And who did he catch that off of? None other than his former teammate, Christian Castaneda. I talked to Christian Castaneda earlier today, and I asked him, what did he feel about the fact that his former teammate robbed him? And he said he went up to Kaufman after the game and he said, "Come on, man, you could have let that get past you," or something like that. But Kaufman also had 2 hits last night. He made that immediate impression that we saw of him when he was with the Mobiles, facing off against these Long Beach Coast. I actually talked with him just a few moments ago about what it feels, what it's like to be with a team that has a home where he doesn't have to travel all the time. He's excited to be here. You'll just hear it from him here now. Take a listen. Hey, everybody. I'm here with the newest addition to the Long Beach Coast, Spence Kaufman. You've already played with 2 teams this year. Yeah. One actually in a teal color uniform, the Windy City Thunderbolts, for 10 games. Most of the season with the Red Pocket Mobiles. Now you finally found a home and really impressed in your first game. First impressions of being a Long Beach Coast member.
It's just awesome. We got a great crowd here, and it's fun to play in front of people rooting for you for a change.
Well, I feel like people are just starting to get to know you. So what's something that maybe the Coast fans need to know about you?
I don't know. I like Ghostbusters, as you can tell. As you can tell when I come up to bat. That's about all that comes to my mind right now.
So that is Spence Kaufman's walk-up song, by the way, and the saying goes, "Who you gonna call?"
Spence Kaufman.
That's the call and response. So if you get here to Blair Field, now you know what to do. That's been your walk-up song since what, like middle school?
Yeah, I've had it ever since walk-up songs were a thing. I don't think we had them in middle school, but my freshman year of high school, I had it.
Awesome. Well, let's talk about what you did last night because, yes, it was a tough loss, but you got yourself into the hit column twice, as well as making some defensive gems. There was that diving play where you doubled up the runner at first, and you know who hit that one, right?
I do. My good buddy, Cece Castaneda.
Who you played with last year with the Grand Junction Jackalope. So did he say anything to you after the game? Did he text you?
Yeah, he's like, "Hey, why couldn't you let that one get through? Get through, I was like, "Hey, I got to make a good impression."
I suppose they had enough runs last night.
Yeah.
But now that you're starting to get comfortable with everybody here and starting to learn who everybody is, what do you think your goal is going to be moving on into the final 11 games of this homestand?
Yeah, just figure out my role, and just do whatever Percy asks of me, and that's what I got to figure out.
You have Troy Percival now as your manager. Yeah. I saw you in batting practice yesterday getting some pointers from the hitting coach, Troy Gloss. Yeah. What was he saying to you?
He's telling me, in BP, there's not a lot of ride on a 50-mile-an-hour pitch coming in, and I was hitting all these pop flies. He's like, get on top of it a little bit more so when in the game when it has more ride, you don't pop it straight back to the catcher. And then, it helped out a lot. It was a very, very good tip that I'd never thought of, and it was very true.
Got you a couple hits.
Yeah, I did.
So with that, you are kind of now in your second year in the Pioneer League. You are a bit more comfortable, especially having played with the Red Pocket Mobiles. And I recall you telling me that Percival said you don't have to get onto a bus for the next 2 weeks. And tell me what you were feeling in that moment.
Oh, man, I about busted out into tears of joy. Being on a bus, I've had my fair share of buses for my life. It feels like playing on the Red Pocket Mobiles. But now I get to set my stuff at the apartment and forget about it for a little bit. So it's pretty cool.
Well, get comfortable, Spence. We can't wait to have you into this playoff stretch. So thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you, Joey.
yet. A contest where Yuba Sutter jumps out on top early, rather jumps out on top in the 4th inning with that big 5-run frame, and Long Beach just is muted going up against them over the next few frames. Riley Egloff, on the other hand, when he faces Long Beach this season, he's gone through a pretty routine outing. Last time against the Coast, he allows 3 earned runs on 7 hits across 5 innings. That's on July 18th. Egloff works a 745 earned run average on the season across his 14 starts. 2-6 total record. Now he's dealing against a Long Beach team that usually hits Yuba Sutter pretty well. During the 9 meetings during July, the Long Beach Coast knocked a .307 batting line against Yuba Sutter. 10 home runs mixed in there, 82 RBIs. On the season, Yuba Sutter, their bats have compiled a .270 mark against the Coast. We're moments away from first pitch. They're reading through the lineups. If you're watching on the Home Team Network, you just got a great look at the Long Beach dugout as they're waiting to run out onto the field. We saw something pretty special for Troy Percival earlier today. His daughter, Avery, delivered the game ball with his son, Cole, in attendance. He's on the inactive list for the Coast, but looking on from the top step of the dugout, while his wife, Kara, then threw out the first pitch. And here's Cole to give us the magic 2 words. Play ball from Cole Percival. How about that? His dad, the manager. 3 wins away from 150 in the Pioneer League. Cole on his team, who has yet to lose a game in the home ballpark. Daughter Avery next to Cole on their way back to the dugout. And Troy's wife, Kara, throwing out the first pitch. What a day for Troy Percival with his bobblehead alongside his Angels teammate, hitting coach Troy Gloss, being distributed to the first 3,000 fans through the doors of Blair Field. Well, while the folks are still filing on in, we got to mess around with those bobbleheads during the Beach Ball pregame report, and it is one of my favorite bobbleheads that I've seen in minor league baseball. Now, granted, the high five was a tricky pose because we tried to replicate it, and we missed. But that just shows why Troy and Troy were big leaguers, and we're not.
Well, yeah, a little bit more hand-eye coordination, especially for Troy Gloss. That's probably what got him his 2002 World Series MVP.
Yeah, maybe.
But, well, hopefully his teachings of what he did in his major league career will help out with some run support. Hopefully Troy Percival taught some things to Garrett Vandeventer on his first action on the bump in August.
Well, Garrett Vandeventer hopping onto the mound now. Undefeated at Blair Field at 3-0. Vandeventer pitching for the Coast in the cream jerseys with the arcing teal Long Beach serif lettering across the chest. Teal hats with the script LBC logo on the front. And Yuba Sutter, on the other hand, wearing their baby blue jerseys with the gold and black outlined script Freebirds across the chest. And just on the right arm, the gradient orange to gold piping around the shoulder with that same piping down the leg as well. The Freebirds wearing their baby blue caps with a black brim and the Aviator Freebird logo on the front. Well, for the Yuba Sutter team, their lineup reads as follows. Zeb Rose in center field leading off his first game against Long Beach yesterday. He homered to give Yuba Sutter a lead it would never relinquish. After him, it's Josh Duarte. He follows up after an 0-for-2 line, but he walked 3 times. Cooper Hex, who hit that grand slam that essentially put the nail in the coffin in Game 1 of this series. He's batting behind him, the DH. Zach Chamizo, the second baseman, team leader among qualifying players in batting average entering this game. Chamizo clubbing the baseball at a .352 clip. After him, it's Max Ortega, the catcher, making his series debut. Andrew Kirchner at first base. Isaac Nunez, his series debut. He's at third. Cam Uran, another first-timer in this weekday setup in right field. And Devin Dixon is back at shortstop after last night, finishing 0-for-3. Lefty dealing to a righty to lead things off. Zeb Rose walks into this at-bat to lead off the game at a .282 line against Garrett Vandeventer, pitching with a .579 earned run average. The left-hander sets, kicks high, and fires. Fastball misses downstairs at 86 miles per hour at 6:35 p.m. Pacific time. 80 degrees off the shoreline of Long Beach, California. There is a light breeze blowing in from center towards home. 0-1. Called a strike, low and away. 87 miles per hour on the heater there. 1-1 count. Vandeventer struggled his last couple of times out, but he cleaned it up in a big way in the most recent outing. He deals. Pitch misses low and inside. 2-1 on the breaking ball. In his first start of the 2-week road trip out in Ogden, he surrenders 11 runs, 8 earned on 10 hits in just 3 innings, but he rebounds in 4 1/3 in Kalispell, Montana against the Glacier Range Riders. 2-1 pitch. 86 mile per hour fastball misses down by the ankles once again. 3-1 count here for Zeb Rose to lead off the ball game. Vandeventer, black glove at the stomach. He nods and fires. Missing up high and away. So Rose is aboard with a leadoff walk. That brings up Josh Duarte. We talked about his free passes yesterday. 3 in the ball game for the Yuba Sutter left fielder. Duarte batting .340 on the season. He's worked 37 total walks in 2026. Vandeventer stares over at first, flips on home. Works his way in for a strike at 86 miles per hour. But back on that last outing against the Range Riders a week ago for Vandeventer, 4 1/3, 3 runs on 6 hits. Runner moves, 0-1, batted foul to the right side off the front step of the Long Beach dugout. 0-2 count. Rose, who went running with that pitch, is 7 for 7 on stolen base attempts. This is 20th game of the season. 0-2 count. Vandeventer looking for his first strikeout. The Kansas native from the stretch. Hit foul to the first base side. Cooper Vest gloving it just over the line. While we're at it, Joey, let's hear about that Long Beach defense. Who's where?
Well, in the corner outfield, it's going to be pretty standard set. Eddie Pelkin left, Matthew Bardwell in right, but Robert Pitts getting the nod in center, Emilio Corona getting the day off, Rosengard, Mata, Coppin, and Vest from left to right around the horn. Pappas to catch Vandeventer.
Runner moves, throw to first. They've got him in a rundown. Throw to the bag. Tag applied by Anthony Mata, and they got him. Zeb Rose tries to find his jump, but the southpaw Vandeventer looking right his way. Well, how about this cleanup for Garrett Vandeventer? He starts out with a 5-pitch walk to Rose. Now ahead 0-2 on Duarte, and he picks Rose off of first. 0-2 again. That's downstairs. 1-2 count here for Duarte. Lights already on at Blair Field underneath blue, partly cloudy skies. 1-2. Laced up the middle to center field. Robert Pitts tracking in, and he's got it. What looked like an easy start for the Freebirds quickly turns into a situation with nobody on and 2 away. No score in the top of the first inning after Pitts tracks that one down. Robert Pitts, we've seen him bounce around that outfield a bunch in the early going of his professional career. Pitts started in center 3 times. Now, actually, this is his second start in center after 4 starts in right. Cooper Hext at the dish. First pitch to the lefty. Squares to bunt, but misses over the curveball at 80 miles per hour. Hext in his second stint with the Freebirds, rather with Yuba Sutter. Last year, a Yuba Sutter high wheeler started this season in the Frontier League, the Tri-City Valley Cats, but returned up to Marysville. 0-1. He swings and nubs that one foul to the left side. 0-2 count. Now a preview of what's to come for Long Beach. It's Eddie Pelk leading off, followed by Spence Kaufman and Cuba Bess. Copy and paste from yesterday's lineup. Vandeventer with a chance to issue the bats up to the plate for the Coast. 0-2, here it is. Misses low and outside at 81 miles per hour. Cooper Hext digging in an open stance at the very back of the lefty box. In the middle, laterally. 1-2, swing and a miss. Over the slider, down by his shoelaces. Gerard Vandeventer unties those laces. Moving on to the bottom of the first with a no-hit. Top of the first inning when he pitches the minimum. Pelk, Kaufman, and Best due up when we return with more from the Long Beach Baseball Network. Well, the Long Beach Coast have an opportunity to reverse the wrongs of yesterday. An 11-4 Yuba Sutter Freebirds win. Long Beach waiting until the fifth inning to elevate itself on the scoreboard. Now we move on into the bottom of the first, tied up at 0-0. Jesse Cook with you on the mic, Joey Miller to my right. Eddie Pelk leading things off for the LBC, followed by Spence Kaufman and Cuba Bess. The right-hander Riley Egloff works his first pitch home. Pelk swings and fouls it to the backstop. 0-1 count. Egloff rocking in with a 7.45 earned run average. He hasn't seen Long Beach in almost a month. His last appearance against the Coast, July 18th. Next pitch, Pelk swings and flies into right center field, very shallow, in no man's land. Tracking in from right is Cam Uran to make the catch. So one away to begin the home half of this ball game. It brings up Spence Kaufman, and he's already gotten one out of the way with his new team. Yesterday, playing in his Coast debut after being traded from the Mobiles on Monday, Kaufman a 2-for-5 showing with a couple of hits. Egloff works on home. Misses low and away on the 83-mile-per-hour bender. And Spence Kaufman's walk-up song is the Ghostbusters theme. And Joey, you talked about it with him in the Beach Ball pregame report. Dribbles this one to short. Devin Dixon charging. The third baseman instead has it. Throws to the bag offline. Isaac Nunez tries to make it work across his body, but Spence Kaufman legs out the infield hit. And Joey, maybe you can provide some insight as to why he's the answer when somebody asks, who are you going to call?
Well, who are you going to call? Spence Kaufman. The fact that he just hit that one to Isaac Nunez, who was his middle infield partner last year, and beat it out against a person on the mound, Riley Egloff. A lot of former jackalopes here, and he's mentioned how crazy it is to be facing off against them this year.
Here's Cuba Bess, another former Grand Junction Jackalope on the left side. Runner on first, one away. Bottom of the first inning. He swings and misses at the first pitch. Correction, another person who's spent some time in the Grand Junction area, a native to Fruita, Colorado, not too far from the former Pioneer League team. Runner on first. Kaufman taking a 3-step lead. Egloff kicks his orange cleats low. Bess swings and fouls it back. 0-2 count for Long Beach's home runs leader with 22. Bess hit 5 during that first series of the 2-week homestand. He went silent against Glacier, but knocked a quintet of home runs out in Ogden, Utah. 0-2. That pitch, as if responding to the Let's Go Long Beach chant, and winds up in the dirt. 1-2 count for Bess here. Now, yesterday was not exactly his day. 0 for 5 line. 1 strikeout. 1-2. He cuts and misses for strike 3, and Riley Egloff has his first K of the evening. 2 away in the bottom of the opening frame for another lefty, Cooper Vest. Vest clubbed a double, although it was sort of an ambush hit. It happened in the 8th inning. Long Beach down by 9 at that point. Pokes it through this pop-up that lands in no man's land in shallow left field. Dealing out of the stretch, here's Egloff. Whirls on home. Vest watches the 94-mile-per-hour fastball for a strike. 0-1 count. The Coast with that 1 hit from Kaufman. No hits for Yuba Sutter through their 3 batters in the top of the first. Egloff sets again his 0-1. Vest swing, saws it to left field. Midway through, Josh Duarte chasing in. He makes the catch on the run. Long Beach boards on an infield knock from Spence Kaufman, but that's as far as the Coast make it. We move on for the meat of the Yuba Sutter order. 4, 5, and 6, Zach Chamizo, Max Ortega, and Andrew Kirchner. When we return with more on the Long Beach Baseball Network. Top of the second inning on the way between the Long Beach Coast and the Yuba Sutter Freebirds in a scoreless ball game, and we've got the Cook quiz during this inning on a bobblehead night at the ballpark. Jesse Cook with you next to Joey Miller. Garrett Vandeventer out there on the mound for a lefty-lefty affair with Zach Chamizo for the Freebirds batting .352. First pitch. Fastball for a strike on the outer half. Chamizo yesterday finishing 1 for 4 with a sacrifice fly and a run scored. He lays that all-Auburn bat on his back shoulder while Vandeventer set from the third base side. Here he goes. And that misses down and away. 1-1 count. Now, I mentioned that it's a bobblehead night. Troy Percival and Troy Gloss's tandem high-fiving bobblehead being distributed to the first 3,000 fans in attendance today. And that has to do with the Cook quiz. Rather, the Cook quiz is involved with that. 1-1. Swinging a foul tip towards the backstop. 1-2 count. So, Joey, I'm going to very plainly ask, who are the first 4 players issued an MLB-licensed bobblehead?
Well, I know that bobbleheads weren't necessarily of a specific player. There was a generic look when they came around in, I want to say, the 40s.
1-2 from the stretch. Chamizo watches, and he's frozen for strike 3. He issues a challenge. So home plate umpire Gary Gilman checks up with the press box, and the Freebirds are now 0 for 1 on their ABS Red Pocket Mobile Strike Zone challenges. As public address announcer August McAdoo will confirm in a moment. So Vandeventer has struck out back-to-back batters, one ending the first, now one beginning the second. And that brings up Max Ortega. And Joey, you are right that there were some nondescript team bobbleheads. However, we are asking about the first 4 individual players that were marked with an official Major League Baseball licensed bobblehead. And if you want to play the Cook Quiz, well, you can comment on our YouTube stream. Here's Max Ortega. First pitch to the righty. He watches. That's a strike, low and away. 0-1 count to the Yuba Sutter catcher. You can also go on X and tag at Long Beach Coast or at Jesse Cook TV. 0-1. That misses low and outside. It's a 1-1 count. So we're talking about bobbleheads. Max Ortega has done anything besides bobble and wobble. He's batting .357 in his 8 games with the Freebirds. 1-1. He cuts, flares it to deep right field. Matthew Bardowell feeling back for the wall in front of the warning track. He makes the grab. Turns back into the fence and locks eyes with his friends in the bullpen, staring through the other side. Well, they say hockey players feel like they're in a fishbowl. Well, Matthew Bardowell must have felt like a zoo exhibit there with the 15-odd eyes on him, sets of eyes on him from the bullpen. All his friends. I didn't see anyone smile or laugh, or they just stared him down. Here's Andrew Kirchner on the left side. Vandeventer with 2 away. That's a strike on the outer half. Base is empty, no score. Top 2. Beauty of a ball game so far. I mean, blue skies, wisps of clouds, 80 degrees, but with a light breeze blowing in. 0-1, that skips away. I was talking with a Coast fan about this earlier, that it was sort of a foreign idea when there was a lightning and rain delay in Ogden, because you never get rain down here. 1-1. Kirchner cuts, knocks that one the opposite way, into the gap in left center. That falls for a hit. Kirchner burning around first. He's going for second. Throw from Eddie Pelk to the bag. Tag hops away out of the mitt of the second baseman for the Coast, Spence Kaufman. Andrew Kirchner sneaks up into a double. Well, now Yuba Sutter has the first runner in scoring position on its first hit. Isaac Nunez taking a turn here. Kirchner knocking through right there. Nunez, a .211 hitter across his 23 starts and 28 total appearances.
And he's seen a little bit of a downhill trend since the last time that we saw him, where he led off every game. He was getting on base. He's trying to pick himself up right now heading into the month of August.
Vandeventer picks up and puts down a ground ball out to short. Anthony Mata's throw to first in time, but Cooper Vest is pulled off the bag. So the Freebirds keep the inning alive on the error at short. So there are men on the corners for Yuba Sutter with 2 away. And a tied ball game at 0-0 in the top of the second. So here comes Cam Uran for his first digs of the series. Uran batting .281. Walks in here on the left side. Vandeventer, glove at the belt. Looks down, fires. Missing up high and inside for a 1-0 count. Fastball there at 86 miles per hour. Corners pinched lightly in, middle infielders back. 1-0. Floats in for a strike right down Second Street. 1-1 count. We're still thinking about the Cook Quiz. We'll get the answer in the bottom half of this inning, but we're wondering, who are the first 4 MLB players made into officially MLB licensed bobbleheads? Throw over to first, and walking back in is Isaac Nunez.
Well, I suppose I'll ask you, Jesse, do you remember your first bobblehead?
Well, I do, because it was actually pretty recent. I don't think I ever got one growing up, at least nobody notable. It was Red Sox Kike Hernandez bat flip. Next pitch sent right back at Vandeventer, who gloves it, jogs on to first, and underhands over there. So the Freebirds threaten, but the error does not cost the Coast as we move on to the bottom of the second inning. Still locked up at 0-0, and it's 5, 6, and 7. Matthew Bardowell, Benjamin Rosengard, and Robert Pitts due up for the Coast when we return with more from the Long Beach Baseball Network. No score between the Coast and the Freebirds. We move along here at Blair Field into the bottom of the second inning. Long Beach at the plate. Matthew Bardowell leading off, followed by Benjamin Rosengard and Robert Pitts. Against the right-hander, Riley Egloff. Jesse Cook with you on the mic. Joey Miller to my right. Righty-righty affair. And, oh boy, has Matthew Bardowell swung a big bat this season, batting all the way up at 365. First pitch, a slider that misses out high and away. 1-0 count. The native to Fontana here in Southern California at the dish. Next pitch, checks his swing. Bender called a strike at the knees. 1-1 count for Bardowell, who batted .500 last week against the Glacier Range Riders. 1-1. He swings and misses. 91-mile-per-hour fastball on the outer half. Yesterday, 1 for 4. That makes him 9 for his last 20. We are still playing the Cook Quiz, and we're wondering, here on a bobblehead night at Blair Field, who are the first 4 MLB players to get one? 1-2. Fouled back between the wickets of catcher Max Ortega. More specifically, we're wondering who are the first 4 granted an officially MLB licensed bobblehead. 1-2. Egloff, after a heavy breath, kicks up high and misses in the left-handed batter's box. Egloff shaking his right hand after his release there.
Well, before the break, I asked you who your first bobblehead was. I don't believe we got an answer.
It was a Kike Hernandez Red Sox bat flip bobblehead. Very recently, it was after his 2021 playoff walk-off. I got it the next year. 2-2. Bardowell swings and pastes it foul to the right side. I'm guessing that you have a special memory associated with your first bobblehead?
There are a couple. I recall getting a Carmelo Anthony bobblehead.
There you go.
Growing up in Denver, big Nuggets fan. I eventually got him to sign that bobblehead and told him the story that it was my first bobblehead.
2-2. Popped up behind third base in foul ground, feeling for the wall, Isaac Nunez. In front of the warning track, he makes the catch. 1 away for the Long Beach Coast in the bottom of the second inning, tied up at 0s. Here's Benjamin Rosengard batting on the left side. Carmelo Anthony, you know I'm a Syracuse alum. I will always appreciate that.
Yeah. And I believe Elway. I got an Elway bobblehead.
John Elway.
Right after he got into the Hall of Fame in 2004.
Actually, I will tell you, I remember my first because it has ties to SoCal. First pitch, Rosengard swings and paints that one to deep left center field in the gap, and it falls right into Josh Duarte's mitt. Oh, he had good ride on that ball. 90 miles per hour off the bat, but Duarte is fast to it. I remember my first bobblehead actually was a Trevor Hoffman one that I got at his retirement ceremony at Petco Park. And I had totally forgotten about that until this conversation. Robert Pitts batting on the right side. We do need to get to the answer for the Cook Quiz. First pitch, Pitts leans back as the breaking ball winds in for a strike. So, Joey, 4 players. I can give you the year to help you out. It was 1960 that these were issued.
Okay.
0-1. Pitts watches another breaking ball, but that misses low and away. 1-1 count.
I can see Yogi Berra being on a bobblehead around that time. 2
of these players were Yankees. 1-1. Pitts swings and taps it foul to the left side. So you got Yogi Berra. Who else?
Well, if there's another Yankee, you'd have to go with Mantle. Every kid loved Mantle.
Okay, you got Mickey Mantle. Then 2 more.
Stan Musial.
And who's your 4th guess?
Some Dodger.
1-2. Check swing. High and away. He holds up. It is a National League player, I will tell you that.
Thinking Dodgers in that era.
Well, there's a big one.
I mean, Koufax, sure. By the way, Jewish Heritage Night is tomorrow night.
2-2. Pitts swings and misses. So we'll get the answer in the top of the 3rd inning when we return with more on the Long Beach Baseball Network. We're still tied up with a couple uncracked eggs on the scoreboard as the Long Beach Coast head back out to the field for the top of the third inning. The Yuba Sutter Freebirds at the plate. 9-1-2 due up in Devin Dixon, Zeb Rose, and Josh Duarte. Jesse Cook with you on the mic, Joey Miller to my right, and Garrett Vandeventer, the left-hander, back out there on the bump. He's 3-0 when pitching in the friendly confines here at Blair Field. His first pitch, Dixon squares to bunt but pulls back as that misses high and away. An 85-mile-per-hour fastball. Dixon yesterday finished 0 for 3 with a run scored. 1-0 count. Vandeventer pitching from the third base side. Kicks high. Swinging a high fly ball, right center field. Robert Pitts tracking over from center. Calls off Matthew Bardowell, and Pitts makes the catch with a leap at the end of his journey. One away in the top of the third inning. Garrett Vandeventer has only allowed one hit one time through the order. That was a double from Andrew Kirchner. We were talking about the Cook quiz in the last inning. We never got the answer. Who were the first 4 Major League Baseball players to be granted an officially MLB licensed bobblehead? It was 1960. Zeb Rose leading off, the leadoff man for Yuba Sutter, now coming up here. Vandeventer, the lefty, pitches to the righty, who watches the breaking ball down and inside for ball 1. Joey, you guessed Mickey Mantle, Yogi Berra, Stan Musial, and Sandy Koufax. You got one correct. It was Mickey Mantle. The other Yankee was Roger Maris. 1-0. He swings and taps this one foul to the right side and out of play. 1-1 count. The other 2 players were both National Leaguers. One of them, Roberto Clemente, and then the other one ended up being the Say Hey kid, Willie Mays. 1960, they handed those out during the World Series. Rather, they weren't free. They were available for purchase. 1-1. That lands for a strike on the heater. 1-2 count. The idea of giving away those paper mache and tinfoil bobbleheads before the modern material was still foreign to the MLB execs at that point. 1-2. He swings and lifts it foul to the right side, again out of play. And, of course, we bring that up because the big draw for fans tonight, not just the Coast in first place playing the Freebirds, but that manager Troy Percival and hitting coach Troy Gloss shared a bobblehead distributed to the first 3,000 fans in attendance. Vandeventer's 1-2. Misses up high and away. Percival and Gloss, teammates on the Angels when they won the 2002 World Series, seen high-fiving with their heads wobbling around on that bobblehead. Next pitch. Called strike 3, immediately challenged by Rose. They only have one challenge remaining. If they get this one wrong, they're out. And public address announcer August McAdoo announces that the Freebirds are 0 for 2 and out of challenges, confirming the strike 3 call on that appeal. So, the Freebirds have no freedom when it comes to contesting strike and ball calls the rest of the game. Here's Josh Duarte on the right side. They lose that in the top of the third. Next pitch. The first one to Duarte, a strike high and away. 86-mile-per-hour sinker from Vandeventer there. No score, nobody on, 2 out. Top 3. Lefty pitching to a righty. He goes again. Lunged foul to the right side. 0-2 count. Duarte flied out to center field, his first time up. Vandeventer with an opportunity to limit him here again. He started Duarte out 0-2 last time before picking off Zeb Rose before forcing that flyout. Chance to end the inning. Here's the 0-2, missing up high and away. Long Beach has the bottom of its order, due up 8-9, then 1. And Anthony Mata, Johnny Pappas, and Eddie Pelk after the end of the top of the third. Yuba Sutter's Josh Duarte with an opportunity to extend the frame. Vandeventer kicks up high and bounces down low in the coal mine. 2-2 count. Vandeventer, during his last outing, only worked 1 strikeout. Hasn't issued more than 3 in any of his last 10 appearances. Trying for his third here, the 2-2. Rather, his fourth here, the 2-2 misses inside and low. Full count here for Duarte. The southpaw on the mound walked his first batter of the game, Roast, before picking him off. That's his only free pass so far. 3-2. Swung on and tapped to first. Cooper Vest has it, bobbles it, throws to Vandeventer covering the bag, steps to the base and gets there in time. Vest had trouble working the baseball out of his glove, tossed it a little high for Vandeventer, who leaps to the bag and stomps down for out number 3 on a wire-to-wire play there. We move on to the bottom of the third inning after a 1-2-3 frame for the Coast, Mata, Pappas, and Pelk combination on the Long Beach Baseball Network. Still no score as we move on to the bottom of the third inning. In fact, there's only been one hit for each team as we move on with Anthony Mata leading off for the Long Beach Coast, followed by Johnny Pappas, and then the top of the order, and Eddie Pelk against the right-hander Riley Egloff. Jesse Cook with you on the mic, Joey Miller to my right. Egloff allowed Spence Kaufman to reach on an infield hit his first time up, but since then he's retired 5 in a row. Out of the windup, first pitch to Mata. A breaking ball that is called a strike, low and away, but Mata immediately challenges Gary Gilman's decision. Yuba Sutter is 0 for 2 on challenge tries, with both their appeals being confirmed for strikes. Well, Anthony Mata falls into the same boat with public address announcer August McAdoo announcing that pitch is confirmed as a strike. The Coast 0 for 1 on challenges. 0-1 pitch. Mata watches. That misses high and away. 1-1 count. Anthony Mata walks into this game with a .286 batting average, this being his 48th start of the season. 32 RBIs for the shortstop. 1-1. 91-mile-per-hour fastball for a strike. 1-2 count. Riley Egloff working in against a Coast team where his ERA in head-to-head play has just dropped below 6. Crosses now 25 and 2/3 innings pitched against the Coast. It's a .596 ERA. Anthony Mata saddling up here, batting .362 against the Freebirds. He bounces this to short. Devin Dixon crow hopping to first in time. Out number 1, that's 6 straight. The native to Denver, Colorado on the mound. Working his way through this Long Beach order, now facing the 9-hitter Johnny Pappas. Although the Chino Hills product, Pappas, did not record a hit yesterday, did fire off a sacrifice fly. First pitch to him, a 93-mile-per-hour heater in the dirt. 1-0 count. Pappas bending in that open stance, catching on back-to-back days. 1-0, misses low and away. He told us it was difficult to do so out in Kalispell, Montana. Sunday, Long Beach forfeited on account of poor air quality. Saturday's game was shortened to 6 innings for the same reason. Pappas told us a lot of the guys were dealing with daily bloody noses as a result. 2-0. He cuts and fires this one to left center field. Duarte tracking in. That's in front of him. Johnny Pappas touches down for his first hit of the series. Long Beach catcher entering this game, batting just .203. Works his way aboard to bring up the top of the order, and Eddie Pelk. The Huntington Beach native Pelk walks in with a .530 on-base percentage, best in the Pioneer League. Righty pitching to a lefty. Out of the stretch. Pelk watches. That hits for a strike high and away. Pappas, a three-step lead off of first. 0-1. Pelk swings, rips this one up the middle over the leaping second baseman Zach Chamizo into center field. Pappas holds up at second base, and the Long Beach Coast are cooking here. Back-to-back hits. Back-to-back pitches at that. Eddie Pelk extends his brand new on-base streak. He ended the last one at 75, 9 shy of Ted Williams' professional record at 84. This one moving up back to double figures at 10. Spence Kaufman, before this frame, had the last hit for the LBC. An infield knock to third. Isaac Nunez, his former Grand Junction Jackalopes teammate, behind it. Kaufman swings at the first pitch and fouls it over the back netting. And Joey, we were talking about the connections here. Few former Yuba Sutter players on Long Beach's roster, and then a lot of former Jackalopes in this game as well, reuniting whenever these teams play each other. This being the last series between the Freebirds and the Coast. 0-1, Kaufman swipes and misses. And you talked with Kaufman during our Beach Ball pregame report about it.
I sure did, and I know that he's spending some time outside of these games hanging out with his former infield, Christian Castaneda and Isaac Nunez. That was the infield alongside Evan Scavato.
0-2, misses out high and away, 1-2 count. We've talked about Evan Scavato a lot this season because Eddie Pelk, standing out on first base, broke his walks record during the last homestand against the Mobiles 2.5 weeks ago. 87 walks for the record, now up to 95 for Pelk. 1-2. Kaufman swings and tags that one to third where it's gloved by his former teammate Nunez. Well, how about that? Yesterday, Kaufman robs Christian Castaneda on a line out to short, diving to make the snag. This time, Kaufman tears into one, and it's right at his former teammate Isaac Nunez. So there are two away in the bottom of the third inning, tied up at 0-0. Long Beach with runners on first and second, bringing up Cuba Bess. 22 home runs, leads the roster, but he's had a stagnant start to this series at 0 for 6. Righty pitching to a lefty. Lime green batting gloves at the base of a two-piece bat for Bess. He swings at the first pitch over the 93-mile-per-hour fastball for strike one. 0-1 count. Cuba told us he liked playing at elevation, as evidence showing with his 2 grand slam game in Ogden. 0-1. He chases one high and away. 0-2 count. The ball flies further there, but it also looks a little different coming out of the pitcher's hand. Long Beach batters learning that the hard way this series. Yesterday, dropping their 3rd consecutive game, their first of this series, to Yuba Sutter 11-4. Only piling on 7 hits in the loss. 0-2 count. Runners on first and second, tied up at uncracked eggs in the bottom of the third. Egloff, hefty breath, glove at the waist. Kicks his neon orange cleats high and fires. Best swings and keeps himself alive with a ground ball to the first base side and foul. 0-2 count. Long Beach enduring its first ever 3-game skid. Losing 2 at Glacier and then yesterday. Egloff glances to second, then back to home. Back to second. Here he goes, another 0-2, and he misses high and away. 1-2 for Bess. Settling in on that first base side. Another chance to end this inning. Egloff, high leg kick. Bess swings, and he tags that one right to second, and Chamizo leaps to glove it. Long Beach hits the ball really hard in that inning with 2 hits from Johnny Pappas and Eddie Pelk, and ends with a pair of lineouts. We move on to the top of the 4th. Still tied up at 0-0, 3-4-5. Coming up for the Freebirds with Joey Miller on the mic for the next 3 innings when we return with more on the Long Beach Baseball Network.
Top of the fourth. Hi, everybody. Joey Miller, Jesse Cook alongside me to my left, and there is still no score in this ball game, courtesy of a pitcher's duel. Garrett Van Deventer is going to try and carry that for his Long Beach Coast, and he misses for ball one, low to Cooper Hext, who at this point in the game yesterday reached on an error in the fourth where they rallied around 5 to make an impression, called strike to even up the count at 1 apiece on the DH last night. He was a center fielder. But pretty similar start from last night to now tonight with no score through 3. Slider misses off the table. It's a 2-1 count. And Hex, one of the newer guys that we've seen enter the roster for Frank Gonzalez's Yuba Sutter Freebirds since we last saw them here at Blair Field. Sharp ground ball up the first base line, and Cooper Vest has Cooper Hext caught up for out number 1. We were talking in the press box earlier today how he kind of sounds like the Wario version of Cooper Vest. We're calling him Evil Cooper Vest.
I don't know if Hext has facial hair. Vest sometimes does, so that's that Vest Spock with a beard there, basically, the alternate evil universe one.
Well, we did just have a Mario Kart-themed race, so Wario seems more apt, and Zach Chamizo fouls the first pitch to the left field side. And do you have a Mario Kart character? Your Mario Kart character of choice?
Oh, geez. I can't remember the last time I played. I think I'm set with Luigi most of the time.
That's usually who I like, too. I like Rosalina. Rosalina's got some good special powers. Yeah, you got to get deep into the lore here. Next pitch misses low for ball 1. Even 1-1 on Chamizo.
Yeah, my Nintendo knowledge is limited to pretty much knowing Mario, Luigi, Donkey Kong, and isn't Pac-Man in one of those games?
I think so. You're thinking of Super Smash Bros. Another one to Cooper Vest. 3 is how it goes in the book twice. Vest hugging that hot corner. Usually it's the third base side that's the hot corner, but now 2 up here and 2 down in the top of the fourth. 6 retired consecutively for Garrett Van Deventer. The last time there was a base runner was on an error by Anthony Mata. Max Ortega sends the first pitch out to right center. It's over the head of Robert Pitts. Bounces over the wall for the ground rule double. Second hit of the day for the Yuba Sutter Freebirds. And they get a runner in scoring position for the first time in 2 innings. 2 outs as well. That was 103 off the bat. Pitts was giving it chase for a while, but then it had some late ride in the air. Good amount of hang time as well. Andrew Kirchner is going to try and cash in the first run of this game. Freebirds struck first in the top of the fourth yesterday. Now they have a chance to do so tonight. Foul ball, third base net, rather. For the Cal State Fullerton product. Saw him having a chat with his former teammate Matthew Bardowell, who's currently in right field, before the game today. 0-1 on the ground and up the middle for a base hit. Pitts is going to charge in. Here comes Ortega to the plate. It's cut off by Vest. And once again, the Freebirds strike first in the top of the fourth. It's 1-0 on the RBI single from Kirchner. Now a 2-hit night for the Cal State Fullerton Titan. An RBI for him as well. He got one last night on a single in the fourth. Isaac Nunez has a chance to carry on this inning with 2 outs. 3 pitches after the second out was recorded. And now 2 hits, 1 run on Vandeventer's line. Nunez sends one sky high down the left field line. Pelk chasing towards the wall, and he has no room left by the Steve Traxel bullpen. It's a foul ball for strike one. 101 off the bat. Had that been straightened out, it would have headed towards the park in left field. Vandeventer takes a breath, working from the stretch. The 0-1, fouled first base side. Nunez has offered at all three pitches that he has seen from Garrett Vandeventer. The first one headed towards the shortstop Mata, but the wild throw allowed him to first. Kirchner heads towards second. The pitch misses low. A good throw there by Pappas, but it's not in time with the tag applied there by Mata, or rather Kaufman. One and two count with another runner in scoring position for the Freebirds, who lead now 1-0 here in the top of the fourth. Vandeventer gets Nunez under this one. First base side, foul ball. Vest watches it go into the bleachers. Good amount of fans here on this Wednesday night with some new souvenirs. Been talking about those bobbleheads all night. Saw them all stacked up nice and pretty at the front gate. Also chatted with Troy Percival and Troy Gloss. They were signing about 30 for a lucky few that were mixed in to the giveaways. No stranger to signing large amount of things in their major league careers. Nunez sends this one down the left field line. This time it's fair. It's going to score Kirchner. The merry-go-round continues. Back-to-back RBI hits. And the first hit for Isaac Nunez on the double. 2-0 Freebirds. Vandeventer still struggling to get this last out. He'll have a chat with his now two-year teammate Johnny Pappas. Both last year with Troy Percival for the Idaho Falls Chuckers, who made it all the way to the championship round in 2025, and they're hoping to make a run for it in just about a month from now. September 10th and 11th, those will be the playoff games for the divisional round here at Blair Field. Be sure to get your tickets at longbeachcoast.com. Right now it's looking like the Modesto Roadsters might be the third team to clinch at some point. Still a good ways away, though. This is just game 26 of 48 of the second half. Ball one to Cam Uran. Uran out of Denver, Colorado, just like his starter, Riley Egloff. Off speed misses inside, and Vandeventer falls behind 2-0. Infield working towards the right side for this lefty hitter. And now a breaking ball gets Uran fooled. He waves at strike one. Ended the inning on a ground ball right back to Vandeventer. That was back in the second where they left two stranded. 2-1 slider off the plate. And just off the plate on that lower outside corner. Freebirds can't challenge. They wouldn't have there. They are 0 for 2 out of challenges. Coast have yet to use a challenge. 3-1 breaking ball misses below the knees. And now there is the second walk of this game for Garrett Vandeventer. The first was the very first batter he faced, Zeb Rose. He's currently in the on-deck circle now. And that's going to elicit a mound visit from pitching coach Jerome Williams. No action in the bullpen thus far. They're going to trust the lefty who just a little over a month ago had a complete game, allowed 1 run to the Oakland Ballers, who the Coast will see this weekend, Friday through Sunday. That'll be the last time we see the Ballers here in the regular season. Mata tried to join in on that conversation on the mound, but now heads back to his position. Home plate umpire Gary Gilman was coming out there to break things up, but Jerome Williams sensed his presence and made a U-turn towards the first base dugout. 2-0. The Freebirds have the advantage here, and they can score a couple more runs. With Devin Dixon, the 9 spot for the Freebirds at the plate. First pitch to Dixon off the end of his bat and fouled towards the backstop. He flew out to center field his last time up. That was just last inning. Van Deventer comes set. Above the belt. Looks back at Nunez. And now Dixon sends one towards the hitting facility in right field. For strike 2, the hitting facility in which Troy Gloss spends a good amount of time working with these young minds here in the Pioneer League to shape what has become one of the better offenses in this league. However, the past couple of nights, it's been tough. There's a backwards K for Garrett Van Deventer, his 4th on the night. Gets out of the inning and leaves 2 stranded. And now the Coast will have to respond for their starter, Garrett Van Deventer, who gives up the lead 2-0. We'll be right back. Bottom of the 4th, and the Coast with some work to do. After falling behind 2-0, Cooper Vest is going to start things off against Riley Egloff. Cooper Vest, who recorded the first 2 outs of the top of the 4th, but then Van Deventer gave up back-to-back hits that led to 2 plating for the visiting Freebirds, threatening to potentially win this series with any of the following 2 games, including tonight. There's a called strike from Egloff, who is in his 15th start of the season this afternoon, and his 6th against the Coast. Gets Vest to swing and miss at the breaking ball. The Denver, Colorado native out of Heritage High School in Littleton goes at it with the 0-2 and misses low for ball 1. Last year with the Grand Junction Jackalopes, he had only 7 starts, so now he is beyond double of what he had last year, and the reason for that was a mid-season injury right when he was heating up. And now Vest goes down on the 4th pitch. A swing and a miss for Egloff's 3rd of the night. looking for a shutdown frame here in the bottom of the fourth.
Well, we talked about it earlier that Egloff has really good action on his curveball, and Long Beach is still getting reaccustomed at home to playing at lower elevation where the ball breaks more.
He was raised in Colorado, so that's kind of where he learned his curveball. But sure, it does help when you have lower altitude, and this is first summer in which he's on the West Coast playing baseball. Not the first time he's played baseball on the West Coast, however. It's a 1-1 count on Matthew Bardowell with one out and nobody on. Fastball just outside on the righty-to-righty matchup. Egloff throwing across his body. 2-1 breaking ball. Bardowell out in front of it, fouls it in front of home plate, and it goes backwards for strike two. Egloff's father, Bruce, a former prospect for Cleveland. Many athletes in his family, including some football players. Breaking ball, misses low and outside for ball three. We mentioned that one of my earliest memories of a bobblehead here on bobblehead night was the John Elway bobblehead. And a relative of his played with John Elway. And he gives up the walk to Matthew Bardowell for the first base runner of this inning on a 6-pitch walk. That is the first time Bardowell has reached here in the bottom of the fourth. Riley Egloff, I believe it's his uncle of some sort, like a great uncle once removed.
Regardless, it's an athletic family.
Yes, Ron Egloff, the former tight end for the San Diego Chargers and Denver Broncos. Rosengard sends the first pitch on the mound, rather on the ground, to kickstart a double play at second base. Chamizo to Dixon to Kirchner ends the inning and ends our conversation there as Egloff faces the minimum and puts up the scoreless frame to keep the 2-0 shutout intact heading into the fifth. You're listening to the Long Beach Coast on the YouTube channel and Home Team Network. Into the fifth, Garrett Vandeventer receives no run support through 4 innings now. Riley Egloff gets the shutdown inning in the bottom of the fourth. His team on top 2-0, and now the Freebirds are going to try and get a couple more. With Zeb Rose kicking things off, takes strike one from Vandeventer. Rose started the rally in the top of the fourth where the Freebirds took the first lead yesterday, and now the Freebirds taking the first lead here in the top of the fourth tonight. Rose fouls the next pitch back for strike two. One of the better plate discipline hitters on the Freebirds, really in the Frontier League and Pioneer League. He started the year in the Frontier League with the Quebec Capitals. 0-2 arm side break, misses outside. On the off speed from Garrett Van Deventer into his 5th inning of work. Rose down the right field line. It goes foul. Just out of our viewpoint where the hitting facility blocks part of the corner in right field from behind home plate. Rose, a walk and a strikeout tonight. The 1-2 on the ground towards Mata, and it's under his glove for the error. Rose is going to try and stretch it into 2. The throw, not in time. On the tag applied by Kaufman. Oh my goodness. That was a close play there.
I don't know about that call.
It's not our call. That call was Keith Gibbs. Or rather, Ryan Blayberg, who was covering that second base bag there. So an error and an extra base. Gets Rose aboard. Josh Duarte fouls the first pitch for strike 1. The throw there was from Pelk. It was on the money. The throw. That being now a foul ball caroms onto the field. Somebody has to go get it from the VIP section on the first base side. Those dangling lights over there starting to glow a little bit more as we head into this dusk time of Wednesday night. Duarte, a high chopper up the middle. It's cut off by Mata. And a hard throw to first with the momentum gets out number 1. Kaufman looked like he was on that one, but Mata decided to step in front of him. Any way to get an out. He does there. Cooper Hext now has a runner at third. Zeb Rose advanced on the ground out. And the ball skips away from Pappas. It's going to score Rose on the wild pitch for an unearned run, but the third on the day for the Freebirds, who lead by 3 now. Back-to-back innings with a run crossing for the visiting Freebirds, wanting to extend what has become the first and longest losing streak in franchise history for the Long Beach Coast. Line drive into right field. Bardwell comes in, makes the grab on the run. Gets hexed for out number 2. Zach Chamizo will have the bases clear and 2 outs. That's how things started with the very first rally that the Freebirds put up in the 4th. 2 outs, nobody on. Chamizo was the second out of last inning before Max Ortega started a hit chain. Now Chamizo taps this one towards the first base dugout.
And this has been the trend for the Coast lately, that they're not letting up singular hits. They're letting up runs of hits.
Van Deventer calms himself for the 0-1 and finds the plate on the changeup there. 0-2 count. Chamizo, one of the hotter bats for the Freebirds throughout this entire season. Takes the 0-2 outside in the dirt. 0 for 2 tonight. One for 6 in this series thus far. Lefty on lefty. And Van Deventer misses outside on a breaking ball. The longest at bat for Chamizo tonight of his first 3 plate appearances. 2-all is the count, and now it bumps up to a full count after Van Deventer started things off with an 0-2 approach. Payoff pitch with 2 outs up next. Here's that pitch. Chamizo golfs it into right center. Pitts comes over to his left and makes the grab for out number 3. But Zebros reaches on the E6, comes around to score. It's 3-0 Freebirds, and now the Coast Bats will really need to get to work in the bottom of the 5th when we come back around. You're listening to the Coast Media Network. Bottom of the 5th, the Freebirds have scored in back-to-back innings. The Coast scoreless through 4. That's because Riley Egloff has been dominant on the mound. This is only the 2nd time through the lineup. It'll be the bottom 3, Robert Pitts, Anthony Mata, and Johnny Pappas, the 3 righties, to face off against the righty Egloff. Joey Miller, Jesse Cook to my left. Some pink skies out there on this Wednesday night, and Pitts takes the first pitch high for ball 1. Egloff faced the minimum in the 4th for the first shutdown inning of the game. Now Pitts takes a breaking ball outside for ball 2. Egloff, he has not had a start longer than 5 innings pitched for the Freebirds against specifically the Long Beach Coast. And now Egloff falls behind 3-0. 3 of his previous 5 starts against the Long Beach Coast have been 5 on the dot. And now he allows a base runner on the walk, his 2nd on the evening. Right away.
Pitts has done a good job at working through some free passes this year. He's already worked his way into a 3-walk game. That was out against Ogden. And part of it is that he's smaller than most other guys on the team. He's 5'10". A lot of the guys are 6 feet tall or more. But he's also done a fantastic job at just crowding the plate and forcing pitchers to work on the outer half and miss.
It's going to be a pinch hitter. Jacob Jablonski comes in for Anthony Mata, who is responsible for that run last inning on the error. Quick throw over to first to check on Pitts. He is a stolen base threat. Bottom of the 5th, 1 on and nobody out. Egloff sets his feet from under him and heads towards the plate. First pitch misses low for ball 1.
And more with Pitts during the college season last year at UC Riverside. He swiped 10 bags across his 51 games.
Egloff, the quick shuffle off the mound, misses low. It's going to make Ortega come out to the mound. Nothing from the dugout, but the infield is drawn in. Robert Pitts, so far in now 14 games played in his professional career, he has only one stolen base, but we've seen that speed in the outfield. Everybody trying to understand how to approach yet another pinch hitter, or the first pinch hitter. Jacob Jablonski on just a 1-1 count. Jablonski started last night, and he went 1 for 3 with a walk, a couple of strikeouts as well. Takes the next pitch outside. It's a 2-1 count. No, 3-0, I guess. Now a 4-pitch walk for Jablonski. Back-to-back walks for Egloff, and now Frank Gonzalez has to go out and say something.
Well, that's 8 pitches, all of them missing the zone in this inning. So Egloff, who issued his first walk of the game in the last frame, has evidently lost some of the touch that's helped him along to his early going shutout.
We talked about it in the pregame show. They're looking at the umpire, Gary Gilman, saying this mound visit is the second of this inning, meaning that Egloff would have to exit. Gonzalez just wanting to have a chat with him.
Well, here comes Yuba Setter's trainer, so they might be trying to argue that it's not a mound visit because they're checking on an injury.
Well, Frank usually is pretty calm and collected when he goes out to have a chat with the umpires. He has been ejected this year, he tells me. But it's nothing that serious. I think this is just the concern of Riley Egloff, who is shaking his head right now.
But this is not an injury meeting. It became one when they brought out the trainer. It was a mound visit to begin. So they have to remove Egloff by rule. It would be, we would need some explanation if he stays in the game.
The first mound visit did not involve a coach, and now he glove bumps everybody. He's going to have to be taken off for that rule. And now a new pitcher will have to warm up quick. We'll tell you who that is coming out of the Steve Traxel bullpen in just a second here, but we'll tell you when we come back from this break. It's 3-0. There are 2 on for the Coast and nobody out. Don't miss this. We'll be right back. Bottom of the 5th, and a force of a change on the mound for the Freebirds. They didn't want to take off Riley Egloff, despite the fact that he threw 8 pitches. None of them hit the strike zone, allowing 2 on for the Coast, who are trying to get back at this 3-0 deficit. And the unfortunate thing for this situation means that Riley Egloff cannot line up for a win.
Well, I'm also wondering if it was a necessary removal based on injury, because they brought the trainer out for him. He looked very dejected, not just for formalities of rules. So we're hoping he's all right. But that may be a change necessitated by the injury rule, by his trainer's decision. So we're hoping he's okay. But this is what happens in baseball at any level, that occasionally you're ambushed by these instances where someone's ailing and you need to bring someone in on short notice.
It's going to be Sean Weiss to replace him. And, you know, every coach in this league has a go-to guy when they need an emergency guy to get out of an inning. This is that guy for the Yuba Sutter Freebirds. He came in last night to replace Ravello, who gave up 2 runs, and he needed only 1 batter to get the final out of that inning. Sean Weiss, also 35 appearances now, 43 innings of work, the most out of the bullpen in terms of innings pitched, with a 5.44 ERA. He throws back to second to check on Pitts. Johnny Pappas at the plate to be the first to face off against the new lefty,
who tossed just 4 pitches yesterday to his 1 batter.
Weiss, the first pitch. Johnny Pappas bunts it backwards for strike 1.
I always think that's the funniest thing. It's like studying for a test. You throw countless pitches in the bullpen to get yourself ready, and you might need only 1 to get your way through your outing.
Sean Weiss, a batting average against of .291. But Pappas is just going to try and move these runners over. He's showing bunt early. Fastball tapped down the third base line, a great one. Isaac Nunez gets it to first, and a successful sacrifice for the 9 spot. Gets 2 in scoring position. And out number 1 is recorded to bring up the top of the lineup, Eddie Pelk. Eddie Pelk, a single in his last stat bat.
He's a good guy to have in this scenario. He piled on 5 RBIs in as many games last week against the Range Riders.
And they're going to intentionally walk him, so that's 96 on the season, 4 away from becoming the first in Pioneer League history, both affiliated and modern era. Nobody has marked triple-digit walks. He's already broken the record.
And he's got a lot of time to spare. This is game 74 out of 96.
I think he'll make it.
For all we know, he could do it by the end of this game.
He has had 5 walks in a single game. That's what would need to happen. That's the 3rd walk of this inning, but the first intentional. Spence Kaufman, with the bases loaded now and 1 out, takes the first pitch, breaking ball inside for ball 1.
That 5-walk game against Oakland, the team Long Beach will see this weekend on July 23rd.
1-0 to Kaufman, fouled back, first base side and onto the concourse. Kaufman has shown that he can be a role player in this 2 spot in the lineup. Already 3 hits across his first 2 days in a Long Beach uniform. A long ways from home in Corinth, Mississippi. Slaps this one through the left side. That'll score the first run of the game, and maybe one more. The throw in from left field. The play at the plate pops out of the glove of Ortega. That's a 2-run single for Spence Kaufman, his first couple of RBIs. Gets the Coast within 1. Who you gonna call indeed? Eddie Pelk advances to second as well. Spence Kaufman has 2 multi-hit nights in his first 2 games.
He's batting .500 as a member of the Coast. 4 for 8 with, like you said, those back-to-back multi-knock games. But now he sets up the biggest bat in the lineup.
We're starting to see a spark out of Spence Kaufman that I haven't seen in some time. Bess Pops one. Right behind the net, and the play is made on an impressive catch from Ortega. His glove right above the banister on the backstop on the first base side. There's a very deep backstop here at Blairfield, which gave enough room for out number 2. So now still the tying run is in scoring position for Cooper Vest.
And we called Best the biggest bat in this lineup for his team leading 22 home runs, but Cooper Vest we know can power the ball out as well.
Vest takes the first pitch inside for ball 1. He's 0 for 2 tonight.
But he has slugged 12 home runs this season. Doesn't need to fire it over the wall. All he needs to do is put it on the ground in the outfield.
Weiss looks around and fires a fastball below the knees. A 2-0 count on the St. George, Utah native. Soft chopper on the ground to the right side. It's going to be a tough play. Everybody's safe. The infield single for Cooper Vest. Loads up the bases once more. Gunning it up the line. That was the first baseman, Kirchner, who tried to flip it over to Weiss. And just about a step shy of getting out number 3. The tying run is at third.
And that's what separates a lot of teams from the ones at the top of the standings is you don't have that indecision when the ball is pitched between 3 players like that. There's no discussion about who's going to get the ball. You know your role, and the pitcher runs straight to first, not looking for the grounder.
Bardowell takes the first pitch outside for ball 1, and maybe that's not the contact that Cooper Vest was hoping for on that pitch, but utilizing that speed. Now the trail runner of 3 for the Coast. Bardowell down the right field line and foul. Matthew Bardowell out of Fontana, California, just like his manager, Troy Percival, on his bobblehead night. He's trying to come up big for the Coast, who are down by 1 here. Pitch misses outside on an off speed. Bardowell gets ahead of the count. Lefty on righty matchup. Rosengard in the on-deck circle should this inning continue. 2 outs and a 2-1 count. The 4th pitch over the heart of the plate for strike 2, and now Bardowell is going to have to be less selective if it's anywhere near the plate, just to stay alive. The 2-2. Line drive into left center. That's going to fall and head towards the gap. Pelt comes in. Now here's Kaufman. 2 runs are in for the Coast. Now a third coming to the home. A bases clearing double for Matthew Bardowell. Puts the Coast on top for the first time this series. Make it 5-3. The Coast have just turned their luck around, courtesy of Bardowell.
Well, Yuba Sutter elevates itself into a lead yesterday with a 5 spot, slapping on another one in the 6th inning. Long Beach evidently learning from him and attacking this tired reliever who, although he only threw 4 pitches yesterday, is still forced to toss on back-to-back nights.
That is just what you need in that situation. Now Rosengard can just add some more if he can get on first here. A ground ball up the middle. Dixon's going to get it to first in time for out number 3. 9 up and 7 faced off against the new arm on the mound, Sean Weiss. He gives up the lead. 5 spot for the Coast and a 2-run advantage heading into the 6th. We'll be right back. You're listening to the Coast on the Coast Media Network. The Coast have turned this one around. Here into the 6th we go. 5-3. Bardwell gets the go-ahead on a bases clearing, bases loaded, 2-out double. And now Gary Grosjean is going to try and get the first shutdown inning of this game for the Coast. Pitch pops out of the glove of Pappas for ball 1 to Max Ortega, who started off the first rally for the first lead for the Freebirds. Pitch misses outside again for ball 2, but finally some run support for the starter, Garrett Vandeventer, who finishes his line with 5 innings of work, 4 hits, 3 runs, 2 earned, 2 walks, and 3 strikeouts, putting him in line for a potential victory should the line hold. Ortega takes the fastball outside for another ball. Grosjean having yet to hit the zone. Grosjean, who started this season as the projected 1 spot in the starting rotation, now works better from the pen on the second half of this season. Gets a strike for a 3-1 count.
Well, when he found his way back from the inactive list, there already was a set rotation.
3-1 outside, and it's a 5-pitch walk to Ortega to start things off here in the 6th.
And we've seen starting pitchers make their return from the inactive list in the bullpen, like Brett Wozniak did yesterday. It's just that for Vandeventer, the shoe fit at the time for him to stay out there instead of opening up the contest.
And Grosjean's going to have a quick talk with Percival. Gives him some words of encouragement, taps him on the chest twice.
And it is incredible how the Long Beach coaching staff has worked identifying these problems with pitchers for themselves and teams and other teams where they might be interested in acquiring a pitcher, i.e. Nick Bautista, where they notice one tweak, they just run out there, go, I know exactly what to fix. Jerome Williams, the pitching coach, does the exact same thing too. And so we'll see that work in action now.
Andrew Kirchner has a runner at first, nobody out. And swings at the first pitch there. The adjustment for Grosjean working right away. Grosjean on the road had 3 appearances. 2 in Ogden, 1 in Glacier. Took the loss in Ogden. Misses inside on another fastball, bringing the heat at 92. Kirchner got the first run on the board of this ball game, an RBI single into center field. Now takes an off speed that curves back into the zone. Nice horizontal break for Gary Grosjean, who gets ahead of the count, 1-2. New middle infielders to speak of as well. By the way, Kaufman moves over from second to replace Mata and end his day. Jablonski now at second after the pinch hitting role. Foul ball backwards to the screen. Count stays the same. Jablonski came in the bottom of the 5th, walked, and he was the last person to face off against Riley Egloff. Sean Weiss tried to stop things. Coming in as an emergency pitcher. Swing and a miss at the top of the zone at 93. For Grosjean's first strikeout and the first out of this 6th inning. Gets him to chase upstairs with that late run. Just atop the letters of Kirchner. And now Isaac Nunez will carry his bright red bat to the plate. First pitch misses outside for ball 1 to Nunez, who has reached twice, once safely. He's 1 for 2 with a double and an error. Second pitch misses outside on a breaking ball. Gary Grosjean with a four-seam sinker, slider, and a changeup. Mostly working with that fastball and slider right now. 2-0. Ripped down the left field line. It just goes foul. Had that been maybe a foot to the right, that would have been deep trouble. Instead, it's just going to be a loud strike. 101 off the bat. Nunez, we talked about how he's been in a bit of a funk in his past 18 games since his last appearance here at Blair Field last month. A hit in his first appearance of this series, and now sends one out into center field. Back towards the warning track. It's going to leave the yard. Isaac Nunez ties up the ball game on just one swing. It is 5-all. Nunez sends a nuke. 4-13 off the bat. And for Nunez, that is home run number 3 in a Freebirds uniform. Started the season in the Frontier League with Trois-Rivières, Les Aigles, and the New Jersey Jackals. Cam Uran, now with the bases clear and only one out, takes the first pitch for ball 1. Bit of a different look now, as that erases the hope of giving Van Deventer a potential win. Grosjean misses outside for a 2-0 count. And what's really unfortunate about that is Van Deventer was limiting runs through the first 3 innings, gave up a couple in the 4th, 1 in the 5th, finally got that run support. But it was all for naught. This one popped up in the air to left center. Pelk comes over for out number 2. The 9 spot, Devin Dixon, will be the last hope here to get the go-ahead run, if he can, here in the top of the 2nd, rather the top of the 6th. Grosjean settles in. First pitch, slider in the zone. Inside to Devin Dixon for strike 1. He's 0 for 2 with a strikeout, looking his last time up. That was one of 4 strikeouts for the starter, Garrett Van Deventer. Foul ball up the first base line. Now Grosjean has a chance to end the inning. Some action in the bullpen, the Jared Weaver bullpen. Looks to be the lefty, Jake Dixon. Slider misses outside for a 1-2 count. For Gary Grosjean, this is his 15th appearance, 12th out of the bullpen. Started in the very first game in Long Beach Coast history, back on May 19th against the Freebirds. Gets the outside corner for strike 3. The backwards K ends the inning, but Isaac Nunez comes back for the Freebirds on a deep drive. It's 5-all heading into the bottom of the 6th. We'll be right back. You're listening to the Coast Media Network. Bottom of the 6th, a new pitcher on the mound for the Freebirds, who have just tied up this game on one swing. Joey Miller, Jesse Cook. It was Isaac Nunez who hit one over the center field wall to plate 2 off of Gary Grosjean, the first out of the pen for the Long Beach Coast. And now it's going to be Dalen Bauer to try and get the hold here in the bottom of the 6th. It's going to be Pitts, Jablonski, and Pappas, just like it was for the 5-run rally that got the Coast their very first lead of the series. Pitts holds his bat high above his head and takes the first pitch outside for ball 1. Has not seen a strike in his last 5 pitches. A 4-pitch walk started that rally. Bauer, the next pitch, misses high for ball 2. That trend is going to continue. Bauer sets from the first base side of the rubber. The 2-0 fouled back, and there's the first strike in a while since Robert Pitts struck out back in the 2nd, 1 of 3 for Riley Egloff. Pitts sends this one in the air in the foul territory of the first base side, and Kirchner has it for out number 1. Jablonski will get his second plate appearance here. Walked in his first try. Came into the game to replace Anthony Mata, who finishes his line 0 for 1 with an error. That error, I would imagine, is one of the reasons that sent him out of the game. Fastball up and out for ball 1 to Jablonski. I believe this is the first appearance for Bauer. Next pitch misses inside for ball 2.
This has been a common trend for U.S. Sutter pitchers today, with the exception of Sean Weiss, who attacked out of the gate, but missing early in counts. It bugged Riley Egloff, and now here it is again for Bauer.
Bauer misses outside for a 3-0 count. Jablonski, just like Pitts his last time up, walked on 4 pitches. Bauer out of Gunter, Texas. Howard Payne University, misses inside and low for ball 4. First base runner for Bauer. Brings up Johnny Pappas. Pappas played a role his first time up, or rather his last time up. Both times up if you really want to get technical. A single and then a sacrifice bunt that got 2 into scoring position. Eventually the bases got loaded up, and it wouldn't have mattered anyways because a run or 2 would have scored on the single from Kaufman and then subsequently from Cooper Vest and Matthew Bardwell, who also got hits in that inning. But it sure pushed the momentum the way of the Coast in that inning. Fastball misses low for ball 1. That's 5 straight balls for the new arm on the mound. If this is, in fact, his Freebirds debut, this would also be his professional debut. Bauer again misses in the same spot. Trying to keep it near the dirt, but Pappas is not chasing. 2-0 over the plate that time. Now Pappas can get the lumber off his shoulders. First strike in 6 pitches for Bauer, who has the go-ahead run at first and 1 out. This is outside again. Pappas did not take long for his first 2 plate appearances to put it into play. This time he's taking his time. And it pays off. A walk on the fastball that misses low. There is a runner in scoring position that represents, once again, the go-ahead run. And the second mound visit means that this should be it for Bauer. Only 3 batters faced. Gonzalez, the manager of the Freebirds, you would think.
Well, this is the first one involving the manager. The problem with Egloff the first time around is that there was a crossing of the foul line because Frank Gonzalez did pop out of his dugout. He never actually went out to the mound. This time, the first one was just the infielders between the foul lines, and I think the Freebirds have gotten it in their heads that the chalk is there for a reason besides just determining where the baseball lands.
So it will, in fact, be Bauer to carry on this inning, especially with 1 out and a potential of a double play at 2 different bases around the horn. Eddie Pelk, not often one to try and ground out. He is one to get on base. He has done that twice today. Takes the first pitch, fastball, middle out for ball 1. Now at 96 walks. On the season, he leads the league by a mile. Another pitch misses outside. The next pitch will make it the longest plate appearance for Eddie Pelk, having put the ball in play no later than the second pitch. Here's the third. It misses outside as well. And Bauer lifts his hat with sweat down his brow. Gets a sign from Ortega. The 3-0 outside for ball 4. 97 for Eddie Pelk. Loads up the bases with 1 out. And the go-ahead run is just 90 feet away. They're going to leave Bauer out there to face off against Spence Kaufman, currently one of the hottest hitters of this series. Now with 4 for 8, stepping to the plate here. And really, if his walk-up song has meant anything right now, it would be Who You Gonna Call, because that's who you called last time when he scored 2 runs on the single to left field. Takes a strike. 3 straight walks. There's a swing and a miss for strike 2. The crowd giving Kaufman some encouragement, saying to take a deep breath. Kaufman's a pro. Don't be fooled by his youthful demeanor. On the ground, off the glove of the diving Dixon. It kicks into center field. It's going to score a couple. Kaufman slides into second. Eddie Pelk stays at third. On the double from Kaufman to get the lead once more back for the Coast. A 3-hit night for Kaufman. It is 7-5 Coast. 4 RBI as well. What a great start for Kaufman. Still a chance to score some more runs with only 1 out. And that's going to be it for Dalen Bauer. We were waiting for that. After he gives up the lead in the bottom of the 6th. Who's to say there's not more out of the offense for the Coast, who just got the lead late into this contest. We'll tell you who the new arm is when we come back. Bottom of the 6th, and the Coast have just matched pace with what Isaac Nunez did in the top of it. 7-5 Coast. And with this managerial matchup, Frank Gonzalez and Troy Percival. Frank Gonzalez, formerly of the Grand Junction Jackalopes, the ghost of the Grand Junction Jackalopes, proving to be true here in the 6th inning. Isaac Nunez, the former Jackalope, ties up the ball game, and then the former Grand Junction Jackalope, Spence Kaufman, who was once under Frank Gonzalez, now gets the go-ahead on the double. Cooper Vest will be the first to face off against the new lefty Isaiah Williams, who made his debut here at Blair Field. They intentionally walked Cuba Bess to load up the bases once more. And Williams misses outside for a 2-0 count, now still with 1 out and a chance to make even more damage. Trying to tie up this series, the Coast, after dropping the first one. Breaking ball misses inside on the lefty-to-lefty affair. Williams yet to throw a strike to Cooper Vest, who got himself an infield single as a part of that previous 5-run rally that got the first lead for the Coast. The slider misses outside. It's going to walk in a run. The decision to walk Cuba Bess turns out not in the favor of the Freebirds. Make it 8-5. And Vest gets a free RBI as well. Matthew Bardowell, who was the difference maker in the 5th with a 3-run double with the bases loaded. That time he had 2 outs. This time he has only 1 to add some more into his RBI column. A ground ball to Dixon. He steps on second, uses that motion on to first for out number 3, 2 and 3. But 3 runs for the Coast means that they get the lead back heading into the final 3. Gary Grosjean is going to try and do what he needed to do last inning. He'll get another shot with a new lead. 8-5 heading into the 7th. Jesse Cook will take you through the final 3 when we come back here on the Coast Media Network.
Grooving back to Gary Grosjean for the Long Beach Coast as we move on to the top of the 7th inning with an 8-5 Coast lead. Jesse Cook with you on the mic, Joey Miller to my right. And Grosjean's first batter in his 2nd inning of relief is the top of the order for Yuba Sutter, Zeb Rose. First pitch in the righty-righty affair misses low and outside. 91 miles per hour on the fastball. Grosjean last inning allowed a home run to Isaac Nunez, but other than that, it was a very clean frame, facilitated by his manager, Troy Percival. 1-0, swing and a miss. 1-1 count. After a walk to the first batter, Max Ortega, Percival came running out to the mound, jogging up to Grosjean to tweak something. And we've remarked about how it's remarkable what these coaches can do just by watching. 1-1, swung on and fouled over the back netting. 1-2 count. Jerome Williams, the pitching coach, has allowed us to sit in on his bullpen sessions. And we were talking to his son, Ty Williams, when he was up in the booth with us a couple weeks ago about his dad's approach. Ty, a budding baseball player, 1-2, sweeps outside and away.
Who we need
2-2 count.
By the way, who we need to mention, happy birthday, Ty Williams, who just turned 18 a couple days ago.
That's right. Happy birthday to him. And we were telling him about one of his dad's metaphors, comparing pitching to how willow trees interact. 2-2, swung on, popped up, first base side, and foul. Cooper Vest tracking towards the wall, and he runs out of room. That lands in the bar area. And we watched Jerome Williams talk to starter Nick Bautista and tell him, hey, you're swaying like the willow tree right now. Trees are life, and life needs to be rooted firmly in the ground. So look at the magnolias over there. They're standing straight up because they have the wide, strong base. And that's one of the most profound things I've ever heard a pitching coach say. And I told that to Ty, and he goes, oh, yeah, the tree thing? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, he does that all the time. He talks about trees all the time. 2-2, swing and a miss. Oh, well, the branches start to shake for the Freebirds there. Gary Grosjean powers through with his third strikeout. One away in the top of the seventh inning. 8-5, Coast over Freebirds. Long Beach could use a little arboretum stability, like what Jerome Williams talks about. Losing yesterday to make it 3 in a row, the first 3-game skid in team history. Here's Josh Duarte for Yuba Sutter on the right side. Grosjean crouches and deals and swerves in the fastball for a swing and a miss. Duarte has struggled in this game. He is 0 for 3. The only time he's left the infield was a fly out to center in the first. Other than that, he grounded out to first base and then to short. 0-1. Downstairs and inside on the breaking ball at 86 for a 1-1 count. We've talked to Gary about how he's one of the more animated pitchers on the team, and he says sometimes it's just a matter of finding your groove. 1-1. Swinging a foul ball off to the right side, flown over the side netting. He just likes to lock in but relax off the field.
I think I saw him do that up in Montana and out hunting with the boys.
He was relaxed outside Glacier National Park there. Grosjean and his teammates duck hunting, but now Freebird hunting today, the 1-2. Swinging a chopper third base side and foul.
Well, is it duck season or is it rabbit season?
I'm not sure, but I'm sure Elmer Fudd and Bugs Bunny could give us a good idea.
Thank you for getting that one.
Grosjean settles back in on the bump. Dealing from straight in the middle to Duarte in that open stance, wearing white armbands around his wrists underneath equally ivory batting gloves. Tan bat over his back shoulder, 1-2. He swats and grounds another one to third and foul. Grosjean walking into this appearance having allowed just 2 runs over his last 4 outings, and it's binary in that time. 0-1-0-1. 0 against the Mobiles on July 25th, 1 against Ogden on the 30th, 0 against Ogden on August 2nd, and last time out, 1 run on 2 hits and a third of a frame against the Range Riders on the 5th. 1-2 count. He settles in again. Barren arms, black glove at the belt, high leg kick. Slider dances just upstairs. 2-2 situation here. Grosjean with an old-fashioned look on the mound. His black socks pulled up just beneath his knees with some baggy pants extending down towards him. Dealing to Duarte in the middle of the box. 2-2. Misses outside and low. It's a full count here for Duarte. One thing Gary does not do very often is issue free passes. No more than 2 in any of his last 9 appearances. 3-2. Swung on and spiraled foul to the right side.
And that was kind of an awkward contact swing where he dropped his back foot The pitch was coming inside on the lefty on righty matchup. Duarte somehow found a piece of wood on that one.
Second year, Yuba Sutter batter Duarte digging in against the third-year Pioneer Leaguer Grosjean. The Cal State Bakersfield product throws that one line to second and gripped by Jacob Jablonski. Duarte on the ninth pitch of that battle spurs it, but it's an atom ball. Jablonski, who subbed in for Anthony Mata in the batting order, playing in his second defensive frame, nabs that one, and there are two away in the top of the seventh inning. 8-5 Coast with the bases empty. Here's Cooper Hext, 0 for 3 in this game, but oh boy, did he send shockwaves through Blair Field yesterday by leaving the yard with a crucial grand slam, elevating the Freebirds to what was a 10-2 lead at the time. First pitch, he backs away off the breaking ball inside and low at 86. 1-0 count. Yuba Sutter would wind up winning last night 11-4, but very much buoyed by the momentum strung together by Hex Grandy. He swings and cracks another one to shallow center field this time. Robert Pitts chasing in. He lays out, and that's underneath his glove. Picked up by Matthew Bardwell in center. Chugging for second is Hex. He's in. The ball gets away on the throw to the infield, but Johnny Pappas, the catcher, backs it up. A pinball two-bagger for Hex there. With two away in the top of the seventh, 8-5 Coasters score.
Great effort there by Pitts. And tried to help out his pitcher on the mound, but I think that's going to be it for Grosjean.
Here comes manager Troy Percival. When he's going out for a cup of coffee, he runs. When he's going for a call to the arm barn, he walks, and he is strolling. So, we'll return to you with the new pitcher when we come back for more in the top of the seventh inning. It looks to be the left-hander Jake Dixon. We'll tell you all about him when we return with more on the Long Beach Baseball Network. Back at in the top of the seventh inning, the Long Beach Coast lead the Yuba Sutter Freebirds 8-5, but the visiting team is threatening here. Runner on second for Zach Chamizo against the new pitcher, Jake Dixon, the lefty, replacing Gary Grosjean after his inning and two-thirds of relief. First pitch out of the stretch. Fastball at 89 miles per hour for a strike on the outer half. Dixon walking into his 31st appearance of the season with a .529 earned run average. The left-hander from Clovis, up north of here in California. He's only allowed one run in any of his last 6 outings. 0-1 pitch. Slider misses outside and low. 1-0 count. That one earned run in Ogden, a place where the baseball flies. That was in the first leg of the July 30th doubleheader. He bends in for the signal against Chamizo, who's 0 for 3 so far. Next pitch, swung on and missed. 1-2 count. Its contest started off dormant until Yuba Sutter struck first with 2 runs in the 4th. They've scored in each of the last 3 innings, but piecemeal. 2 runs, then 1 run, then 2, while Long Beach has surged with a 5-run 5th and a 3-run 6th. 1-2 from the stretch. Chamizo watches. 2-2 count. Yesterday, Chamizo played a sizable role in Yuba Sutter's series opening 11-4 win, going 1 for 4 with an RBI and a sacrifice fly. He stands tall at the back of the lefty box. Dixon stares him down. Here it is. Missing lone away. 3-2 count. Dixon, in each of his last 3 appearances, never went longer than 2/3 of an inning, but he retired who he needed to without allowing any damage. Payoff pitch. Chamizo dances out of the way, and the pitch 2 steps inside for ball 4. So he started out ahead on Chamizo, but ends up behind with the walk. And the Freebirds have the tying run at the plate in Max Ortega. He's coming up with runners on first and second. 8-5 Long Beach in the top of the 7th inning. Ortega has yet to hit a home run. This is only his 9th game with the Freebirds this season. But he entered batting .357 today, 1 for 2. Dixon pitches to the righty. Swinging a tapper, third base side and shallow. Rosengard charging, he has it. Throws on to first. Vest stretches, and they get him barely in time. Someone call Cirque du Soleil. Cooper Vest nearly dropped down into a split for that ball. Benjamin Rosengard gunning it on the run, and Long Beach maintains its 3-run lead, holding the Freebirds off the board for the first time since the 3rd. We move on to stretch time with 6, 7, and 8 2 up for the Coast and Rosengard, Pitts, and Jablonski when we return on the Long Beach Baseball Network. It's a sunny disposition for the Long Beach coast underneath pitch black night skies off the SoCal shoreline. 8-5. The coast lead with a chance to even up this weekday series against the Yuba Sutter Freebirds. Bottom of the 7th inning on the way. Benjamin Rosengard leading off on the left side. The Southpaw Isaiah Williams fires. He squares the bunt and fouls it back. 0-1 count for Rosengard. Joey Miller to my right. I'm Jesse Cook, talking to you from Blair Field. Game 2 of a 12 contest homestand for the Coast. 3 against these Freebirds. The last meetings of the year between these two. 0-1. Rosengard leans out of the way of the fastball high and inside at 89 miles per hour. Williams settling in as neon yellow cleats kicked high. Rosengard swings and saws it to the left side and out of play. Last time out for Williams, the Friday night lights burned a little too bright. Yuba Sutter's reliever in his second inning of work today dealt an inning and a third against Oakland, and he allowed 6 runs on as many hits in that time. Next pitch to Rosengard, bounces. 2-2 count. Williams, with his get-back game today, walks in with a .733 earned run average and a 1-2 record. This is his 16th appearance out of the bullpen, 17th in total. Rosengard 0 for 3, looking for his get-back at bat. 2-2. The heater misses low and outside at 90 miles per hour. That pitch looked close, which makes it worth noting that Yuba Sutter burned through its challenges before the end of the third inning. You only get 2 in the Pioneer League. If you are correct on an appeal, you keep it. But if you're wrong, well, it's gone. And they took 2 tries, and they struck out.
And theoretically, you can have infinite ones as long as you just keep getting it right.
3-2, Rosengard swings and gets a piece of it to keep himself afloat. Long Beach also working on an offer in contesting ball and strike calls, except that the Coast have only tried it once. Full count here for Rosengard. Base is empty to lead off the bottom of the 7th. He swings, cuts it down the first base side. Chamizo charging from second, fields at the chest, throws to first, and beats Rosengard by a step. 1 away. Long Beach ahead 8-5 in the bottom of the 7th inning, with Robert Pitts trotting to the plate. He's 0 for 2, but he walked on 4 pitches back in the 5th inning. And during his last game, he marked his first ever professional multi-hit performance. Pitts finishing 2 for 2 on Saturday against Glacier. Williams from the windup. Pitts swings and rallies it to the top of the netting, foul. A walk-on at Michigan. Ended his college career at UC Riverside. 0-1. He swings and misses. 85 miles per hour on the bender there to make it an 0-2 count for the Los Angeles native. Williams from Stockton, California on the mound, turns on home. Pitts watches. Fastball at eye level at 91. It's a 1-2 count. One and two. He cuts and dribbles this one to second. There's Chamizo again, a slow roller, and he has trouble with it, working out of his glove for the error. Robert Pitts amps up his heart rate with that ambush speed to first, and Chamizo cannot handle the episode. That is the first error committed by this Freebirds defense tonight, and it brings up a big bat in Jacob Jablonski. His home runs have been coined Jabomskis, and he sent a healthy handful of those at 19. Good enough for second on the roster. Today he's tasked with relief work. Anthony Mata subbed out at short. Jablonski fills in for him. He's walked twice. Williams rears back to the right-handed hitting switch hitter and misses up high. 1-0 count. We chatted with Jacob in the clubhouse earlier today, and he said he was kind of excited for the rest, but always eager to get back in the lineup. Throw over to first, and Pitts is back in with a head-first dive.
Well, when it's your third season in the Pioneer League, any game could be your last.
Exactly, and he's been very real about that mentality, just playing for the love of it. 1-0. Jablonski keeps the bat on his shoulder, watching the fastball at the belt for a strike. 1-1 count here.
But if this is his last, he's had such a fantastic season to end one out, and he's going to hope to win a ring by the end of it.
He's batting .327 with that fantastic run. Throw over to first again, and Pitts is once again back safely. And last year, Jablonski and many of these coasters playing for Long Beach in the inaugural season fell short of the title last year at the Idaho Falls Chuckers. 1-1. Pitts moving for second. Pitch misses inside, and there's no throw. Ortega, much like Chamizo on the play that boarded Pitts, could not find his way to work the baseball out of his glove. Robert Pitts speeding up to second there. He's 2 for 2 on swipes this season. 2 for 2 in his professional career. 8-5 Coast, bottom of the 7th, runner on second, 1 away, and a 2-1 count for Jablonski. Williams glancing at second, flips on home. Swing and a miss, up high at 89 miles per hour, 2-2 count. The Mission Hills native Jablonski yesterday, 1 for 3, pulling through on the infield grass for his lone hit in the 7th. He's walked in his last 3 plate appearances dating back to last night's loss. 2-2. Swing and a miss. Breaking ball down at 86. Also further down below the knees for strike 3, and there are 2 away after stretch time here for Johnny Pappas, leading by 3, with Robert Pitts waiting in scoring position. Johnny Pappas only marked 1 official at-bat yesterday with a walk and a sac fly. Well, today it's more of the same. He's 1 for 1 with a walk and a sac bunt. First pitch, the lefty deals, and the righty watches for a strike low and inside. 91-mile-per-hour heater. The four-seamer works for a strike. Pappas with his baby blue painter's mitt batting gloves waves a bright red bat. Pitts dancing off a second to throw to the bag. He dives back safely. Well, maybe it's the 80-degree weather at first pitch. Maybe it's the humidity, and maybe it's the lack of wind, but regardless, Yuba Sutter is feeling the heat. Isaiah Williams sweating out there, and Pitts not helping for him. 0-1. Pappas watches one that bounces just by his toes. 1-1. And how about Robert Pitts? He's getting gregarious out there on second base. He's jumping off the bag. The pitch. Pappas watches again. That's downstairs. 2-1 count. Waiting on deck is the top of the order, and Long Beach already ahead by 3. Eddie Pelk, who's reached base in each of his last 3 plate appearances, poses an imposing threat. 2-1. High and outside. The fastball released a little early. Williams, who pounds the baseball back into his bright blue mitt, applies some of the rosin bag to his left hand. Looks for an answer here. Pitch reached on an error. He's retired the other 2 batters this frame. 3-1. Pappas swings and drives it deep down the left field line. That one hanging up towards the foul line. Chasing in from left and sliding to crash into the catch. Ball Network. Long Beach leads 8-5 as we welcome you back to Blair Field for the top of the 8th inning. The Coast playing defense with Jake Dixon back out there for his 2nd inning of relief. And the left-hander, faces Andrew Kirchner, Isaac Nunez, and Cam Uran, 6, 7, and 8 in the Yuba Sutter order. Jesse Cook with you on the mic. Joey Miller to my right for this lefty-lefty matchup. Dixon facing a batter who's 2 for 3. Kirchner doubled in the second, singled home a run in the fourth, but struck out last time up. First pitch, heater for a strike, right at the knees, down the middle. 0-1 count here. Dixon trying to opt for his 6th outing in the last 7 appearances without allowing an earned run. He kicks up high. Check swing that misses low and away for a 1-1 count to Kirchner. The Yuba Sutter left-handed bat playing first base today. In an open stance, Dixon fires. There's another heater. Right down second street for a 1-2 count. Kirchner out of Los Alamitos here in California. The 22-year-old batting against Dixon here, a product of CSU Fullerton. The 1-2. Swung on and foul tipped into Johnny Pappas' mitt for strike 3. Jake Dixon's first strikeout of the evening opens up the top of the 8th. 8-5 Coast. That brings up right-handed hitting Isaac Nunez, and he launched one last time up. His 3rd home run of the season, a blast to center field that momentarily tied the game before Long Beach exploded for 3 more. First pitch misses outside and low on the fastball, 1-0 count. Nunez has reached base in all 3 plate appearances on an error in the second, but doubling in the 4th, bringing home a run there and hitting the 2-run blast last time up in the 6th. Dixon rears back. Nunez swings and paints that one foul to the right side, 1-1 count. He slugged that one out of here in the top of the 6th, but Long Beach responded in the bottom of that same frame with 3 runs crossing, 2 of them by way of a Spence Kaufman double, another by way of a bases-loaded walk to Cooper Vest. 1-1. That misses outside and high. 2-1 count. Vest, the first baseman. Kaufman in his 2nd game with the Long Beach Coast after being traded from the Mobiles on Monday, tasked with some versatility, moving from second to short. As Anthony Motto winds out of the lineup, Jacob Jablonski replacing him. 2-1. Drops in for a strike on the slider. Jake Dixon working it and attacking the zone. 8 pitches this inning, 5 of them for strikes. 2-2. Settles, whips, fastball down and inside. Full count here as that misses over the shoelaces. Dixon has issued just 18 walks this season compared to his 31 strikeouts. This is 31st appearance. That next pitch fouled off to the left side to keep the count full. Nunez swinging an all-red bat, and he has been red hot today with those 2 hits. A welcome change for him, starting the day down at a .211 batting average. 3-2, he swings and charges another one. This one to left field, hanging up Freddie Pelk, who tracks in and makes the grab. Nunez looked good off the bat, but it hangs up in the inward wind, chasing from center field to home. And Eddie Pelk rushes in with it for out number 2. 8-5 Coast in the top of the 8th inning. Here's Cam Uran, batting on the right side. He's 0 for 2, walking in the 4th. Dixon settles in, and Uran appears to be out as Christian Castaneda pinch hits for him. Yesterday, the right-handed slugger for Yuba Sutter, Castaneda, ended up 0 for 4. Here comes Troy Percival, the Long Beach manager, pointing to the bullpen with his right arm. So that is it for Jake Dixon. He'll leave with a healthy line of 1 full inning pitched with a walk. We'll check in on who the right-hander is that was just warming up. I believe that may have been Zach Volker. We'll find out after a break with more on the Long Beach Baseball Network. Well, if Ozzy Osbourne in the background couldn't tell you who it was, that's why we're here. Zach Volker entering the game for the Long Beach Coast to his trademark War Pigs entrance. He walks in to the top of the 8th inning, leading 8-5 for the Coast over the Freebirds with the bases empty and 2 away. Subbing in for Jake Dixon after his inning of relief, striking out 1 and a no-hit setup. Christian Castaneda pinch hitting here at the plate for Yuba Sutter. Volker whips in and forces a swing and miss at 93 miles per hour. Volker has not allowed an earned run in any of his last 7 appearances. His .365 earned run average complements an opponent batting average of .201. 0-1, heater up above the belt, 1-1 count, another 93 mile per hour burner. That opponent batting average sits as the best on the team. 1-1. Swinging a fly ball, right center field. Robert Pitts tracking over. Bardwell from right loses his hat but finds the baseball on the run. Volker walks in, deals 3 pitches, and sets Long Beach up to carry on in the bottom of the 8th inning. Already ahead, 8-5. It's the top of the order when we return with more on the Long Beach Baseball Network. The Long Beach Coast down to the bottom of the 8th inning with a chance to expand on their 8-5 lead. Jesse Cook with you on the mic, Joey Miller to my right. Long Beach setting up the top of its order and left-handed hitting Eddie Pelk. Opposite the southpaw, Isaiah Williams dealing for his 3rd inning of relief. Pelk has not been retired in any of his last 3 plate appearances. First pitch, he cuts and paints it foul to the left side. Very deep, but very far through the corner. 0-1 count for him here. Pelk started off the home half with a fly out to right, but singled in the 3rd, walked in the 5th on an intentional walk. He fouls off the next pitch, 0-2 count, and worked a 4-pitch walk in the 6th inning. This is his first time seeing Williams today. Highlight kick. Pelk watches the bender in the dirt for a 1-2 count. We talked about how this is a get-back game for Williams, allowing 6 runs on Friday night on 6 hits to Oakland. 1-2. He skips in another 2-2 count. That was just in 1 1/3 inning. Long Beach has attacked against him, but failed to cross inning runners over home, twice moving men into scoring position. 2-2. Pelk frozen watching the fastball for strike 3 at 90 miles per hour on the outer half. Isaiah Williams has his 2nd K, his first backwards one. Here comes Spence Kaufman, and oh boy, has Long Beach wanted to call on Spence Kaufman in this game. He has succeeded with a 3-for-4 line, 4 RBIs in his 2nd game as a member of the Coast. Lefty deals to righty. He watches the fastball miss inside and low. 1-0 count. Kaufman, who walks up to the Ghostbusters theme. 1-0. He watches that one high and outside. 2-0 count. Traded from the Mobiles on Monday. Settles in here at the very back of the right-handed box. 2-0. And he hasn't seen anything good yet as the curveball misses over his shin guard. 3-0 count. The Corinth, Mississippi native tapping both sides of the plate and waving back in. 3-0. He sits back and watches ball 4 fly by his eyes. One on, one away. Bottom of the 8th. Long Beach ahead by a triplet. Here comes Cuba Bess, and Isaiah Williams needs some confidence back. Cuba Bess definitely needs more of the same as well. 0 for his last 8 to open up this series. He walked last time up, but he didn't see any pitches. He was dealt first base intentionally to form a force out at any base, which backfired because the base is loaded. Yuba Sutter walked Cooper Vest to bring home a run. First pitch by the helmet, 1-0 count. Bess swaying that all-black bat by his head. Next pitch, a curveball that drops in front door for a strike. 1-1 count here. The former Red Sox and Rockies prospect leaning in at the back of the box. 1-1, he swings and foul tips it. 1-2 here. One of the tallest matchups in this game. Bess 6'2". Williams all the way up at 6'4". Bess swings and cracks this one on the ground into right field. Kaufman stops at second. Cuba Bess has found his way back into the hit column. And Long Beach has runners on first and second with one away in the bottom of the 8th. Ahead 8-5. This is a big one for the Coast. On the heels of their first ever 3-game losing streak. Long Beach in its inaugural season trying to stop the buck there. A chance to even up this weekday series at 1 game apiece before the rubber match tomorrow. Cooper Vest stands in with an opportunity to elevate the 3-run lead with a man in scoring position. Williams kicks high and fires. Fastball for a strike on the outer half. Now, keep in mind, in every frame so far against Williams, Long Beach has stranded a man in scoring position without etching a tally mark for a run. Williams, blue glove at the belt, turns on home. Vest leans with the curveball as it misses low and outside. 1-1 count here. And Cooper Vest has played to productivity today with an RBI walk last time up and an infield hit in the 5th. He's 1 for 3. 1-1 to the BYU product. He checks his swing, holding his hands back on the fastball up by his shoulders. 2-1. This game started off with 3 scoreless frames before Yuba Sutter struck first with a 2 spot in the 4th, scoring in each of the 4th, 5th, and 6th. Long Beach, however, battered back. 2-1. Vest swings, flies this one to right field, hanging up. Rather left field, Josh Duarte in, makes the catch, and there are 2 away in the bottom of the 8th inning. The Coast ahead by 3. That brings up Matthew Bardowell. He brought home 3 runs with 1 swing of the bat. Bases loaded with a bases clearing double in the 5th. Long Beach hammered home 5 runs in that 5th frame. His 3-run 2-bagger. The last word there. First pitch off the knees for ball 1. Yuba Sutter then tied up the game at 5-5 in the top of the 6th when Long Beach then responded in the bottom of the 6th inning with its latest tallies, a 3-run frame. 1-0. Bardowell watches. 2-0 count. Spence Kaufman, who stands on second base, knocked in a pair with a double in the 6th. Cuba Bess on first. 2 away, bottom of the 8th inning. 8-5, Coast. Out of the stretch, high and away. Well, waiting on deck is Benjamin Rosengard. He's 0 for 4, but still dangerous to load the bases for a Long Beach team that has capitalized on every opportunity with the bags juiced in this game. 3-0. Bardowell watches, and he's aboard. Well, Benjamin Rosengard comes up here on the left side. He entered this game batting all the way up at 373 in his small sample size, just 15 prior games with the Coast. And now he has an opportunity to make a splash. 2 outs, bottom of the 8th, ahead 8-5. 2 walks in this inning for Williams. Sweat pouring down the back of his neck. He readjusts his teal and black cap. Baby blue glove at the waist. Whirls on home. Rosengard leans out of the way. Fastball at eye level. 1-0 count. Well, Williams walked in a run back in the 6th inning. It was an inherited run on the line of Dalen Bauer. Neon yellow cleats positioned in the middle of the rubber. Here he goes again. Rosengard watches, and that misses high and away. 2-0 count. Williams, after a heavy breath, the 2-0. Rosengard winces as the curveball starts inside but drops in for a strike. 2-1 count. Williams from the stretch. Rosengard swings, spirals a slow roller down the third base line and foul. 2-2 count. Eight-5 Coast. Bases loaded, 2 away, bottom of the 8th inning. 2-2 for Benjamin Rosengard. Lefty-lefty affair. Williams leaning in. Left hand holding the baseball, dangling by his knee, looking for the signal from his catcher, Max Ortega. Glances down and settles in. A chance to escape without any damage. The pitch. Rosengard fends it off, lunging after it. Count remains 2-2. Long Beach with runners in scoring position, batting .316 this season. Rosengard with a chance to add to that. His silvery white bat laid on his back shoulder. The 2-2, he cuts, bounces it to second. Waiting on it, Chamizo throws to first in time. 3 times, Long Beach boards runners in scoring position against Williams, but never piles a run to his ledger. 8-5 your score. Zach Volker headed back out there for the Coast for the 9th inning to try for his 15th save of the year, leading the Pioneer League. We'll have all that when we return for what could be the last 3 outs of baseball on this Wednesday night on the Long Beach Baseball Network. It's crunch time, taking you into the top of the 9th inning with the Long Beach Coast searching for their first win of the week. 8-5 they lead over the Yuba Sutter Freebirds. Zach Volker out there to try for his 15th save of the season, leading the Pioneer League. His first batter, Devin Dixon, digs in on the right side. First pitch, a fastball at 93 miles per hour for a strike off the knees. 0-1 count here. Volker, his 14 saves already sitting at the top of the Pioneer League. The last one recorded at the Glacier Range Riders ballpark. 0-1, fouled to the left side. 0-2 count. And he's creeping up on Connor Sullivan's record of 19 from last year. Did that for the Oakland Ballers, who visit for their last series against Long Beach, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. 0-2 count. Volker sidesteps on in, whirls home, fouled to the backstop. Should he acquire that 15th save in this game today, he'll tie up Dan Kubiak of Ogden in 2023 for 4th all-time in the MLB Partner League era of the Pioneer League. 0-2. The Long Beach State product pitching on his old college mound. Fires, missing up high. 1-2 count. 14 saves is pretty good, but you know what else sounds pretty good? 7 straight appearances without having allowed an earned run. Zach Volker has not been touched since July 10th. It's August 12th. Next pitch, bounced out to short. Charging in Spence Kaufman. He crow hops to first base on the money. Long Beach 2 outs away from victory, trying to undo its first ever 3-game losing skid. Inaugural season for the Coast, and in that frame, they have dominated the season series against these Yuba Sutter Freebirds, winning 16 of the first 22. But Yuba Sutter punched the Coast in the mouth last night with that 11-4 win. Zebros played a big role with a home run. First pitch to the righty. Drops in for a strike on the slider, 0-1 count. Long Beach lost on Saturday out in Kalispell, Montana to the Range Riders. 0-1. Rose swings, rips it to third where it's snared on the fly by Benjamin Rosengard. It's a hot day, and oh boy, are snow cones in season. Rosengard. He nabs that one. A rocket, 96 miles per hour off the bat. 2 away in the top of the ninth. Volker, 1 out shy of his 15th save. Long Beach has a chance to even up the series. Josh Duarte stands in the way. He's 0 for 4. Righty to righty out of the windup. Slider drops downstairs. Now to continue that recap, Long Beach loses in 6 innings to Glacier on Saturday, 4-2, a game shortened by the smoke in the area. Long Beach forfeits on Sunday for the same reason. Out of the windup, high and inside, 2-0 count. Now last night's game, Yuba Sutter starts out on the right foot with their starter Anthony Silvis retiring Long Beach's first time through the order, in order, 9 up, 9 down, and the Freebirds coast from there. Over the coast. 2-0, misses to the backstop. Volker shakes his right hand after missing there. His slider at 81 miles per hour left his hand a little bit late. Waiting on deck, it's Cooper Hext, who played a big role in the Freebirds' win last night with a crucial grand slam. Long Beach leads 8-5. Bases empty, 2 away, top 9 from the windup. The 3-0 fastball hits at the belt for strike 1. 75 degrees, pitch black night with a breeze rolling in towards home plate. The 3-1. Fastball for a strike once again. Full count. Duarte cringed at that one, but the Freebirds burned both of their challenges by the end of the 3rd inning. So they have no more. And Blair Field is getting rowdy now. Stopping on the bleachers, the 3-2 swing and a fly ball to straightaway center field. Robert Pitts camped out underneath. Black glove up. He's got it. Coast win. 8-5 your final. Zach Volker shuts down the Freebirds. He faces 4 batters dating back to his entrance in the 8th inning. And he keeps his streak going. 8 scoreless appearances in a row. Long Beach benefits from a 5-run 5th inning and secures victory with the 3-run 6th. Spence Kaufman with 4 RBIs in his 2nd game as a member of the Coast after being traded from the Mobiles on Monday. Matthew Bardowell plays a large role with his 3-run double as well. We'll break down more key stats from this first win of the week for the LBC when we return with our Beach Ball post-game report coming right up around the bend on the Long Beach Baseball Network. win goes to Gary. What I got. Bauer. Gary is now 4-2. Uh, he's 42 in the stats. Yeah. Well, then he's 42 on their online roster, but that may be his first appearance then. These idiots. What do they not understand about "We'll be right back"? Yeah, but we're not taking too long. It hasn't been a minute and a half yet. I've been looking. All right. Ready to go? 3, 2, 1. Round third and headed for home. We're just about wrapping up here on the Long Beach Baseball Network, but we still got your beach ball post-game report, so don't turn us off just yet. Long Beach did not tune itself out of this game after falling behind in the fourth inning, surging back with that 5-run fifth, charging forward again after the Freebirds tied it with a 3-run sixth inning. Zach Volker shuts the door with his 15th save of the year, tying himself up for 4th all-time in Pioneer League, MLB Partner League era history for saves in a season. He's 4 away of Connor Sullivan's mark from last year with the Oakland Ballers of 19. Jesse Cook with you on the mic. Joey Miller to my right, bringing you our post-game reporting. Joey, you got to watch Spence Coffin a lot in Grand Junction last year with the Jackalopes. This year he starts off with a traveling team with the Mobiles. He's traded to Long Beach on Monday. Yesterday, his debut, a 2-hit game. Today he does even better. With 3 knocks, he ends up 500 on the series to this point, and he's got 4 RBIs just on this Wednesday game alone.
And if you don't know Spence Kaufman, you might have seen it in the Beach Ball pregame report, how he comes off very timid, and that is what he was when I first met him. When he first got here, I think he quickly fell into sorts of things. We talked about how in his first conversation with Troy Percival, his new manager, he said, you know, you don't have to get on a bus for 2 weeks. He cried. There were tears in his eye because he was so exhausted from the strenuous travel schedule that it was with the Mobiles. Not to say that he didn't hate his time with the Mobiles. He sure was appreciative when they picked him up after getting cut by the Windy City Thunderbolt, giving him that second chance, much like the Pioneer League gave him that second chance coming from Lake Elsinore last year, where I think he has developed into quite a budding superstar that I hope gets his chance at a higher level because he sure deserves it. He's proven that he can play at that level.
Well, Joe, you know, I made it out to Ogden for the road trip, and I only spent 3 games out there. And you know what I did the moment I got back home after my last game out there, after my flight? You know what I did?
No.
I woke up not knowing how I got back home, in bed, still fully clothed in my polo, belt-buckled pants, and everything with my backpack attached to me. Those road trips are brutal. They take a toll on the body and on the mind, And I have an incredible admiration for what the Mobiles players and coaches are going through and how they handle themselves. But, oh boy, is it good to see someone jump ship from there to a place where they have a consistent home. And could not happen to a better guy in Spence Kaufman. He's a lot of fun to watch and a very humble baseball player as well. So I think Coast fans are going to come to love him. Long Beach, just a couple clerical stats before we let you go. Eddie Pelk walks twice. He's got 97 now. He's 3 away from becoming the first in Pioneer League history, partner league or affiliation era, dating back to 61 with where the stats go?
64.
64 to ever reach triple digits in the free pass column. Spence Kaufman, 3 for 4 RBIs with a walk and a run scored. We also watched Cuba Bass break out of his slump. He was 0 for 8 to open up the series, but he singles in the 8th inning. Cooper Vest has hits on back-to-back days to open up the setup. Matthew Bardwell's 3-run double plays a huge role in the win. Benjamin Rosengard, although 0 for 5 at the plate, his glove shows off in the 9th inning, snagging that line shot off the bat of Zeb Rose, a rocket to him. Robert Pitts walks and scores with a stolen base. Although Anthony Mata leaves the game, Jacob Jablonski replaces him with a pair of walks and a pair of runs scored as well. And Johnny Pappas, 1 for 2. Sacrifice bunt laid down perfectly, walk and a run score. And some stats on the bullpen. Garrett Vandeventer, 2 earned runs, 3 total, 4 hits, 5 innings, 4 strikeouts. Out of the bullpen, Gary Grosjean earns the win. He's 4-2 now on the season. Inning in 2/3 pitch for him. 2 runs on 2 hits with 3 strikeouts. Jake Dixon, no hit inning after that. 1 walk for him, 1 strikeout. And Zach Volker shuts the door with that aforementioned 15th save. We'll be back tomorrow with our beach ball pregame report at 6:15 before the rubber match and the last game between the Coast and the Freebirds, barring any playoff runs for Yuba Sutter. That would be miraculous at this point with the second worst record in the second half standings and in the overall setup. But it will be the last meeting of the regular season between these two. You don't want to miss it. We'll also have a special word from Benjamin Rosengard about Jewish Heritage Night. He speaks 5 languages, and he showed off 2, English and Hebrew. So you don't want to miss that tomorrow. Make sure you come out to the game if you're not catching us on the air. 5:35, the gates open for a wonderful day of baseball. 3rd game of this 12-contest homestand, and the last one between Yuba Sutter and Long Beach here at Blair Field. With Joey Miller, I'm Jesse Cook, thanking you so much for tuning in and signing off.